Black technology, building a lightsaber starting from a graduation project. Welcome back, brave explorers of impossible worlds. We are excited to have you here to continue this odyssey together. Before we continue, everything you'll hear is pure fiction, so please don't try to replicate combat techniques at home. This wonderful story in all its rights belong to its brilliant original author. We are only the messengers of entertainment. Want another dose of adventure? Subscribe to our YouTube channel so you don't miss a single chapter, and if you can't wait, our Patreon has exclusive surprises you'll love. Chapter 376 Wormhole Bridge. This is a sanctioner mech that uses the spectrum to scan for information. Light itself is capable of carrying information compared with other detection equipment. Light itself has unrivaled advantages within the range. It can scan everywhere without error inside the corridor. The environment is dim, just relying on the field of view to check. It is inevitable that some information will be missed. Maybe there's really some important information here. After a few seconds, the diffused light wave slowly returned. Xinghu's prompt sounded, analysis in progress, matching with Death God civilization, looking for analogs to compare. When the lightsaber team fought against the Death God civilization several times, Xinghu had stored data in the background. Of course, there are dark suns in ambush on the territory of the High Priest and the territory of the Beautiful Kingdom. It will also continuously strengthen Xinghu's background database. Comparison successful. Retrieving. Successful search. Xinghu's supercomputing power did not make the 6 wait long with a speech. The conclusion drawn appeared in front of everyone. In the corridors, the ritual of the God of Death has been summoned, and those who become sacrifices are all victims of the ritual. In the end, the summoning of the ritual did not succeed. The reason for the failure of the ceremony was not analyzed. That night, the local data network added some technical proposals and technical collections. A rough conclusion can be drawn. In the ritual call, they got new science and technology. There is a lot of information in just a few sentences, especially Su Zhao, his mouth opened wide in shock. I ride a horse, let the younger brother guard around for several days, and finally look forward to the day when the ban is lifted. At that time, I mobilized all the younger brothers, but finally there was only one piece of information. This was where the experiment started. Now it looks like it's complete nonsense. If the base of the living dead is not the place where the experiment started, then where is it in comparison? This is it. So did the lightsaber squad in Maliki. This is also the first time they put on the sanctioner to join the battle. Until this moment, they did not understand a little information suppression is the most important point in today's tech war. If mastered, if the key information is obtained, it will definitely be able to crush the opponent in the dark corridor. All around are broken experimental devices. Even if it is restored, some key information may be lost, but Xinghu swept it like this, and combined with a local dark sun to call up some key information to upload to the internet. Result: the investigation found out what happened behind the scenes. Sure enough, it still happened. Xu Teng muttered to himself after the Death God's minions were defeated. This was what he was most worried about. What if the God of Death is summoned again elsewhere? Now there is bad news, but also good news. After the God of Death was crucified, there seemed to be some problems, even if there were enough sacrifices in the sacrifice ceremony. The God of Death cannot descend on the blue star again. As for those sacrifices, Xu Teng has no mercy at all. When they joined the High Priest to turn around and deal with the people on the blue star, they were no longer their kind, better dead. Record all the situations here, analyze and save the data. Clear as for the technologies and solutions that Xinghu mentioned at the end. Xu Teng looked up at the door not far from the corridor. Everything should be in there. Let's go. The world behind the door is the most important thing. There is nothing to investigate here. Okay. After hearing Xu Teng's answer, everyone woke up from a state of astonishment. When passing through the long corridor, Xinghu's voice announcement will be heard from time to time. Mental disturbance is detected and is being resolved. The solution is successful, and the mental interference is being eliminated. Invade the hidden camera and turn off the monitoring function. Play the recorded video in a loop. It is interfering with the underlying logic system of the other party's network. Xu Teng did not respond to this series of voices because the upper limit of Xinghu has been increasing. What's more, this is not the first time the scene has appeared, but the other few people, along the way, have expressions on their faces that are suspicious of the state of life. Who I am? Where am I? What am I doing? Especially after Su Zhao's face was shocked. He was afraid for a while. Is there something like this in the hallway? Why don't I know? There was no response from the other side. Oh, it turns out I'm just an ordinary guinea pig. This was also the first time Su Zhao felt sit back. He seemed to have something to eat. The Xinghu created by academician Xu seems to be so strong that it has no boundaries. Arrive. At the end of the corridor is a door. Although it was locked by a combination lock, light overflowed from the back of the door, illuminating the entire door with brilliance and brightness. If the corridor is likened to despair for life, then this door seems to bring hope to life. Xinghu, Xu Teng shouted. I see now that the general information is known. The world behind the door must be visited no matter what. What is the technology and plan of the God of Death? These are the things that make Xu Teng extremely interested, because the God of Death will not have mercy on the creatures on the blue star. The technology on offer will never be favorable. Facts have indeed proved this. The newly emerged undead army, and when the undead are controlled by others, will directly explode, might also directly produce as mushroom clouds. Looking at the sound, I found that the door of the combination lock was turning to last sound. This is the sound of the password being entered correctly. The door opens slowly. In an instant, the light shines. There was indeed something behind the door, but it wasn't to enter the room. Pen Fun Library. On the contrary, everything in the door frame is slowly flowing with various colors, flowing like water waves, which is really beautiful. What is this? Su Zhao asked in surprise. Today, I see too many things that make it feel that my brain is not enough. At this moment, fortunately, I am adhering to the spirit of asking if I don't understand anyway. I'm just a mediocre genetic creature warrior. This is the wormhole bridge. Wormhole bridge? What kind of thing? It doesn't sound like something that should be on the blue star. When Xing was sleeping, it transmitted some basic information about the universe to Xinghu. Xu Teng also knew about this matter, so when Xinghu said it was a wormhole bridge, he didn't doubt it. Interstellar civilization, the necessary science and technology. Interstellar travel, because the distance between galaxies is too long, even with the speed of light, the time required is too long. Therefore, there is a wormhole bridge. Chapter 377 News of Mythical Creatures. Is this thing a wormhole bridge? Xinghu's explanation obviously exceeded the guesses of everyone present. It was originally thought that the door behind the corridor was the passage leading to the internal laboratory of the base. Now it seems that it may be teleported to another big world behind it. Thinking of this, the six of them couldn't help but take a deep breath. The things they planned are bigger than we thought. Indeed, I didn't expect the wormhole bridge of interstellar civilization to appear. If I find out later, maybe the High Priest will come up with something new. The development process of civilization has always been difficult, and we have to climb up step by step by constantly groping. Result, on the High Priest's side, it was just hang and get the relevant technology directly from the God of Death. Otherwise, with their planetary civilization, it will take several decades to develop the wormhole bridge technology of interstellar civilization. It is said that the beautiful country is also supported by the interstellar civilization of the Mandu kingdom, but from a certain point of view, the support of the kingdom of Mandu for the beautiful country is far less than the scientific research support of the God of Death for the High Priest. The latter was performed on the spot by the blue star of the planetary civilization. The anger has long been pulled to its fullest. When passing, is there any harm? Xu Teng asked. Since it is a wormhole bridge technology, the transmission distance will definitely not be short. Even the High Priest did not master the complete technology, but combined with the importance of the base of the living dead, it is estimated that it will be in an unfamiliar space. The people standing here today are all people who are equivalent to pillars. If there is trouble accidentally, it will not be worth the loss. Wait for me. Xinghu, who received the order, began to vigorously attack the database of the living dead base under the coordination of Anko. Generally speaking, the base will have bright side data and dark side data. There is a huge gap in importance between the two, and the difficulty of overcoming them is also incomparable. After receiving the order, Xinghu's body also compresses the comprehensive database, and calls all the computing power overcoming the firewall. In reading the data, analyze the authenticity of the data. The next second, the six people who were waiting for the data heard Xinghu's reply. The relevant numbers have been sorted out according to. At this moment, the virtual screen of the Punisher Mecha appeared. The relevant data are shown above. Wormhole bridge of the living dead base, dedicated to cultivating insects far beyond the mythical creatures, able to graft the life source of the sacrificer onto other creatures. The heaven and the earth are a small faction of their own, and they cultivate goo and the myriad things. As a series of information was released, the six people present were a little horrified. The purpose of the wormhole bridge's existence is actually for the mythical creatures in that universe. Pen Fun Library. Moreover, it seems that the laboratory behind it has already produced some not small research results, otherwise it will not appear. The source of life of the sacrificer can be grafted onto other creatures. This way of evolution is really too rude compared with the others. Xu Teng and Su Zhao were the most shocked because they did not expect The research behind the wormhole bridge will be related to mythical creatures as a genetic biological warrior. Xu Zhao has such a powerful dominance. The main reason is from the biological enzyme transformation in its body compared with other creatures. After the successful transformation of biological enzymes, Xu Zhao has a trace of the divinity of mythical creatures, so even a guinea pig will eventually be the head of all things. The so-called mythical biological enzyme was the reward Xu Teng got from the galaxy because part of the knowledge base and arsenal's blocked galaxy does not have a complete knowledge. The result is, Xing can take out the reward of mythical creatures, but he doesn't know what it is like originally. Xu Teng thought that this kind of doubt requires civilization to develop to a certain extent before it can have clues. Unexpectedly, behind the wormhole bridge, there's news of such creatures. No wonder, before coming, the sixth census Grazia must bring Xu Zhao. Maybe you can solve the difficulty. It turns out that the meaning is here academician Xu. The wormhole bridge behind it seems to be related to me. Xu Zhao took the initiative to speak. Well, I heard that too. What? The others were a little confused. Subsequently, the database of the sanctioner metro was activated, presenting Xu Zhao's general information. Few people understand. Does Xu Zhao actually have such a connection with the wormhole bridge? No wonder. Xu Zhao is in Bam City to the north, the devil wolf who can just pass the pentagram bonus. Yuan Firen's words reminded everyone unexpected. Obviously it is only a planetary civilization, but with the development of academician Xu, technology far surpassing Blue Star has emerged. Sure enough, some people are dazzling even standing there. It seems that we will have a lot of trouble entering this time, Xu Teng said. Academician Xu, we have long been used to it. When Xu Teng said this, the lightsaber team immediately stated their position. That's right, risk and benefit always go hand in hand. We don't take that to heart. Yes, Xu Zhao's mythical creature is more important. As a party, Xu Zhao expressed his gratitude, although it's just a guinea pig. But to a certain extent, he has become a teammate of the lightsaber squad. During that time, they were all constantly dancing on the edge of life and death. Some unbreakable friendships were cultivated at that time. Well, then let's get ready to enter. At this time, Xing, whose voice also came. The data shows that after crossing the wormhole bridge, within a certain range, it is absolutely safe. This is also the means they use to protect themselves. Everyone listen quietly. Think about it. The high priest installed the wormhole bridge here for his own development, not to pass through the past and die. When crossing the wormhole bridge, don't think about yourself and let your mind calm down, because the essence of wormhole traversal is to break up its own atoms at the entrance, transmit them, and reassemble at the exit. This wormhole bridge is the most basic wormhole operation in the universe, and the amount of calculation is limited. If you think wildly, it is easy to increase the amount of calculation. Maybe, when crossing, something unexpected will happen. Hearing Xinghu's explanation, everyone nodded solemnly. Xu Teng turned around to take a look, and the preparations were almost the same. Be the first to step, and then, the remaining few people filed out. At the moment of entering the wormhole bridge, the light of the whole body emerges, and the time in the passage begins to rotate. It feels like walking across a covered ridge. After a few seconds to spur, Xu Teng looked up and saw his destination. If you are listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means it was downloaded and re-uploaded without effort. We warmly invite you to visit our channel, Fanfic World. There you will find the original version of this story and many other novels of various genres. We look forward to seeing you dive into a world of incredible novels. Chapter 378: The Secret of the Living Dead Legion. Soft soil, it feels good to step on it. Looking up, two distinct colors appeared in the sky. The sky in the distance is clear and sunny. But nearby, the sky above them was covered with dark clouds, and the black mist was all crowded together, rolling endlessly. This is, the five people who followed behind were stunned by the color of the sky. The change is too obvious. It should be the scientific research of the god of death, Wang Doi said in a low voice. After observing, everyone took a closer look and found that the black mist tumbling in the sky was indeed the same as what appeared when the pentagram transformed the human body. Damn, that's obviously harming this place. So much black fog is naturally not a good thing, and the plants under the two completely different skies are also very different in the distance. Under a clear sky, the plants are all normal nearby. Under the contamination of the black mist, the plants have lost their green color, and the overall appearance is gloomy, which gives people a strong sense of distortion. Emotion slowly became irritable. Subjected to a mental attack from an unknown source, parsing, release interfering light waves, resolving the attack. With Xinghu's voice prompt, everyone's mood gradually stabilized. Where's this? Liu Born asked. Everyone is curious about this question. Looking at the shape of the plant, it seems that the shape of the plant is still on the blue star, and the surrounding environment also has mountains, streams, trees. The only annoying place is the emergence of black fog. It is still on the blue star, and the exact location has not yet been ascertained, Xinghu explained to everyone. Because the wormhole bridge in front of the corridor is the most basic modification, and it does not have the ability to cross the galaxy. Therefore, our position is still on the blue star. However, the data inside the base deliberately blurred out the specific location for evolution. I see. After crossing the wormhole bridge and arriving here, everyone was actually a little worried. If you accidentally go to a certain position on the interstellar, that is the worst. The Punisher does not yet have the ability to travel among the stars. If the location is still on the blue star, everything is easy to say. Even if the wormhole bridge is accidentally destroyed, they still have a way to return to the Dragon Country. The only uncomfortable point is the environment is too different, which makes it a little hard to accept. So, what are they doing? Maliki also noticed that there were some buildings nearby. Although there were no lights on, they could be identified as experimental research bases with the help of the sanctioner's detection. Just crack the most basic database, from which the corresponding data can be read. This is a biological experimental base. They want to artificially cultivate mythical creatures, but because of their incomplete knowledge, they have not been able to obtain complete knowledge. So, I hope to be able to rely on the power of the pentagram to create it. After a pause, Xinghu added a sentence to explain. Pen Fun Library. Create a mythical creature suitable for Death God civilization. Create a mythical creature suitable for your own civilization. The lightsaber team immediately thought of one thing. When they were north of Bam City, Su Zhao suffered repeated setbacks. Asked why, Su Zhao explained, there is also a creature transformed by a pentagram on the High Priest's side. Afterwards, Su Zhao and the creature they mentioned were the Devil Wolf. Presumably, when the High Priest got the support of the latest technology of the God of Death, he thought of Su Zhao, who caused them trouble in the first place. The proper planetary civilization of the Dragon Kingdom. The gods behind them are interstellar civilizations. What the planetary civilization can do, why can't the interstellar civilization do it? If they were them, they would surely be dissatisfied. So, what about those twisted creatures? Xu Teng asked. The combination of pentagrams is ever-changing, which is a kind of bonus power. Each creature has different genes, and will take on different forms in the face of different bonus powers. Given different evolutionary conditions, it may result in different evolutionary routes. When the sample of the population is large enough, it will be close enough to the so-called target. So, those twisted creatures are cultivating Gu, to see if they can produce a creature that dominates all things. Under the battle of all things. Boom. When they heard the news explained by Xinghu, there was a burst of thunder in everyone's mind. Biological experiments have always been like this. Only when the samples are large enough, the experiments will be meaningful and the data will be accurate. Like Xu Teng, there is only laboratory, a group of guinea pigs inside, and then creating an individual that can withstand the enzymes of the mythical creature is incredible. In a way, it's simply a hang-up. In fact, this is indeed the case. If not for the specific experimental steps and detailed data, Su Zhao will definitely not appear so quickly. The most crucial point is, Galaxy can provide complete mythical biological enzymes. Although the path is unclear, the real thing is the real thing. In contrast, the High Priest has no detailed experimental steps, no detailed experimental data, and no complete mythical biological enzymes. Some are just some ideas provided by the God of Death, and the pentagram is the basis for technology. In this case, want to make mythical creatures that fit their civilization. Raising Gu is indeed the best way. There is no tendency for mythical creatures to call upon all things, then use this as the research object, so that the experiment can go a step further. In a way, the High Priest is simply an experimental genius. But the question is, what does this have to do with the Legion of the Living Dead? Why build a wormhole bridge? Here's Xinghu guessed the doubts in everyone's heart through big data analysis. Because when raising Gu, it is necessary to provide life energy. Those distorted creatures under the black mist, with the addition of the pentagram, let the life energy develop in another direction. The so-called army of the living dead actually has corresponding bugs residing in the brains of the sacrifices, issuing orders through frequencies that humans cannot hear. The reason why the sonic jammer can stop the living dead is this, and the living dead self-destructed because the worms inhabited were genetically modified. Once the frequency could not be emitted, they would release their own energy. After listening to Xinghu's explanation, everyone finally understood the secret of the Legion of the Living Dead. Dare to love. Those are experiments, but where did so many experiments come from? The High Priest's declaration of independence, Everyone thought about this. No wonder it's so loud according to their meaning. As long as you can pass the test and become God's chosen people, then you are one of us. Sorry if it doesn't work. Pen Fund Library. There can only be another way to provide us with nutrients. Chapter 379 Plan. Damn, they are really vicious. From the explanation given by Xinghu, everyone understood why the high priest did this. That's right, it was clearly not human before the transformation. A pentagram civilization actually made them forget their true position. Xu Teng also frowned secretly. The information was originally intercepted from Mandu Divine Kingdom, thinking that the secret of the living dead was what they said. It seems that even the information given by the interstellar civilization cannot be completely believed. There will always be quite a few differences over time. That, will the devices he developed still be useful? It stands to reason that the equipment completed under the emblem effect has never gone wrong today. The so-called real secrets of the living dead are known. The original idea, turning yours into mine, may not be impossible as long as the habits of the bugs are analyzed. The sonic jammer can be modified. The living dead base in this piece might also become the power of Xu Teng. Thinking of this, Xu Teng asked, Xinghu, where's their experimental research on the living dead? Currently, there are several studies here. One is the study of the Legion of the Living Dead. The experimental device was destroyed in the corridor because the safety factor was not high there. The space behind the wormhole bridge is large enough, and there are so many buildings around. There must be rooms dedicated to laboratories. Another study, the study of mythical creatures. The clear sky, the twisted plants, the improvement of cultivating goo, compared with the study of the Legion of the Living Dead. The guarding force of the latter building will definitely be more strict now that he has just come in. Even if there's Xinghu, he can't be too careless. There was a sound of flipping through the information, and then Xinghu answered. Building on the left, front left. Everyone looked up in that direction. The black fog rolled, isolating the line of sight, and there was no building at close range. Then, a light spot appeared on the virtual screen of the 6 people. About your location, 10 kilometers away, the research base is in a valley, surrounded by cliffs, and there is only one road leading out. A road. Hearing Xinghu's explanation, the lightsaber squad inexplicably appeared in the mind of the first few Pen Fund Library. Every day they climb the vehicles of the pig farm. There are no roads around, only one way out. The smell there is terrible, and many more. The pig farms with the addition of pentagrams smell so bad, let alone the base of the living dead with the lightsaber team and Maliki. The 5 seem to have thought of the overlooked details. Liu Born asked embarrassingly, Xinghu, will the smell there be a little heavy, strong taste? Xu Teng turned his head and looked at Liu Born strangely. Isn't there a sanctioner mecha? Why are you asking this? Is there any psychological shadow? It's a little bit, but you all put on the sanctioner, and the taste can't be worn. That's fine, that's fine. The other 4 breathed a sigh of relief. The key is, what's wrong? Liu Born asked hurriedly. Yes, don't speak half of it. If you have anything to say, you must finish it. The same goes for the transporter that was tricked into the pig farm last time. It was clearly stated in the front that it was a material delivery vehicle. But what happened? Finally, I went to the field to find out. Live pigs are also considered to transport materials. Standing next to Xu Teng, his face was full of question marks. They must be hiding something from themselves. Actually, it's nothing. That is, your energy consumption is greater than usual. Here, the height of the sanctioner's flight will be greatly reduced. Is this nothing? Lots of questions. Okay, increased energy consumption. Xu Teng didn't notice until Xinghu reminded him. As soon as I entered, I was stunned by the sight in front of me. The clear sky, the black mist rolled over, and the plants in front of him gradually became distorted. In fact, they are in it. They have been attacked mainly from the spiritual side. If it weren't for Xinghu to control the sanctioner mecha, it would have been resolved. They have already been recruited. The key point is this kind of attack is a spiritual level, not a physical attack. Otherwise, they can turn on the shield and convert the physical attack into energy for storage. How long can we use our energy? Let me do the math. Well, 48 hours, that's 2 days. Hearing this data, the lightsaber team breathed a sigh of relief. From the numerical point of view, there's still a long time. After all, in 2 days, we will definitely be able to solve the research of the living dead. The researcher, isn't it just a bug, isn't it? And many more. He suddenly realized something was wrong. It's not just bugs this time. Looking up, I looked at the dark misty sky and the twisted plants in the distance compared with the bugs that control the army of the living dead. Raising goo to create mythical creatures is the most terrifying thing. And here's Blue Star, not a planet other than Blue Star. If the High Priest were to succeed, the damage would go beyond the level of the Declaration of Independence. The other teammates around are also aware of this. At that time, not only will they have to face the strong smell of the living dead army, but also the ubiquitous spiritual attack as well as, Gan. Can't think anymore, academician Xu, Yuan Farron immediately shouted anxiously, I see. Xu Teng turned to the crowd and said, we don't have that much time, hurry up. Now, let's go to the living dead base over the valley and try to control the bugs as soon as possible. The reason for this arrangement is that Suzhou is there since this is a breeding ground for mythical creatures. Presumably even the bugs that control the army of the living dead will be within the scope of breeding mythical creatures. Suzhou is the successful transformation point of enzymes of orthodox mythical creatures. With it, you may be able to feel something within a certain range. Clear. The crowd responded quicklish. The next second, everyone ran towards the marked valley. In a research base, a knock on the door sounded. Come in. A majestic voice in the room answered. The former walked into the room respectfully and bowed to report, Sacrificial Lord, as you think, the people who were originally watching around have entered the base. Okay. The chair in front turned around and looked at the gloomy sky outside the window. The fish finally took the bait. The reason he was sent by the high priest was to protect the secrets of the army of the living dead. But the most important thing about this base, the breeding of mythical creatures. Once he heard a news from the magic wolf among the enemies facing it is a guinea pig, and the majesty it can exude is stronger than it. So, on the first day he came to the base, he had a plan. Chapter 380 Gani and number 039, S-Trap. Self-evolution is too time-consuming. Why not refer to foreign objects? For example, wouldn't the arrival of a ready-made mythical creature help him solve his immediate predicament? As for why the sacrifices would pin their hopes on this, that's because the demise of the city of Kurt must be related to the teammates of the mouse that the magic wolf said. Although the technology of beautiful country is in the top position on Blue Star, but to encounter an interstellar civilization like the God of Death, there is still no way to do it even on the forward positions. It is difficult to build a complete military base. The other party was completely suppressed by them and could not lift his head. The complete annihilation of the Kurt team is definitely not the credit of the beautiful country team, and it only has a relationship with the so-called dragon country. When the information was completely blocked, it was extremely strange, and the source could not be found. Coupled with the fact that the army of the living dead was exposed in the public eye, he guessed that the other party would definitely come. Sure enough, everything was as he had guessed, just a little more in and out. Looking at the photos provided by the younger brother, everyone is under the black painting machine. Yo. There's actually a mecha. If he hadn't seen it with his own eyes, it would be hard for Sacrificial Gani to believe that Blue Star, which is a planetary civilization, actually has a country that can manufacture mechas to a certain extent. The scientific research and technology of the Long Kingdom surpasses that of the beautiful country. No wonder. The high priest once said a word: their biggest enemy is not a beautiful country, but the group of people who can crucify the God of Death, sacrificing adults. Do you want to? The little brother next to him hurriedly stepped forward as a younger brother. Being observant is of course the most important life skill. Only in this way will the most considerate help will be given when the boss is in trouble. Good for future promotions. But obviously, Sacrifice is not so kind. On the contrary, he was very confident in his plan, waved his hand and said, well, the mecha is just a mecha, just go according to the plan. Give them the works of the living dead base and entertain them well. The younger brother was taken aback for a moment, and then answered quickly, I'm going to do it now, or the plan to sacrifice adults is more thoughtful. Gani put down the photo and looked at the dark fog outside in the sky. There was a hint of excitement in his eyes. The progress of the experiment is almost here, and it won't take long to test the results of the experiment. I just don't know if I can withstand such a level of transformation. As for Xu Teng and others who were heading towards the base of the living dead, Gani didn't care at all. Can they really complete the so-called investigative task? That is absolutely impossible. No matter what the so-called mecha is, based on Bluester's technology, there is definitely no suitable material to provide the mecha with a hard shell, not to mention the research in the living dead base. But it has never been about how to control those dead sacrifices under the sky, where there are twisted plants. There are twisted animals, and what do those twisted animals need to control? The research topics carried out in the base of the living dead came in handy. Want to come out alive? HMPH. It would be a good choice to be able to leave you with a whole corpse. Gani snorted coldly. On the way to the base of the living dead, nothing unusual happened originally. Everyone was nervous and their bodies were tense, thinking that there should be security work. Even if these are not available, there will always be unknown staff members. But the result, peace of mind, as usual, just like going out from home and going for a walk. Liu Boren, who has always been a little nervous, felt that something was wrong and asked with a frown, Academician Xu, this is too quiet. Xu Teng was about to answer when Su Zhao in the sanctioner mecha spoke directly. Hey, look, This time even Liu Born knew that something was wrong along the way. It's not easy. I didn't expect to finally get enlightened once. As soon as this sentence was said, the others couldn't stop laughing for a time. The atmosphere became a little cheerful. I was tired because of the tension, and my mind became relaxed. What do you mean? Liu Born gritted his teeth again. Got ridiculed by this little guinea pig again. It's been a long time since they split into two factions to chase people. Forget the fear that he was once dominated by Su Zhao only. Su Zhao did not say anything wrong. Even someone with a big nerve like Liu Born can see that something is wrong. So why don't others know that something is wrong? The current situation is to tell them clearly there must be something wrong with the base of the living dead. But what you want is there. Will you come over? The answer is naturally, will come. Xu Teng sighed and explained, it's really not right, but isn't our purpose to investigate the secrets that can control the undead army bug? Now in the absence of information, even if there is an ambush there, we still have to go inside. When Liu Born heard it, it was true they didn't even know where Blue Star was located. The only information known is the research side of the living dead base provided by Xinghu with a countdown to running out of energy. This is not the only solution, of course. The identities of hunters and prey are not always fixed. After a pause, Xu Teng continued, sometimes, the situation is reversed at that moment. As for how much information the other party will leave behind, haven't we seen Xinghu's performance of cracking the information? Saying this, everyone was stunned. They remembered the scene they had seen before entering as a surveillance officer. Su Zhao has been monitoring around for a few days, and has mobilized a large number of younger brothers. He finally seized the opportunity and entered while the power of the ban weakened. After searching again, I only got one piece of information, that is, experiments with living dead were carried out in the corridor. But what about when they got in? Xinghu just used the spectrum to scan the ground, and finally got a lot of information. The difference is immediately apparent now. Inside such a large living dead base, although a lot of information will be processed in the end, no matter how it is cleared, a lot of information will be left in the base. Isn't that Xinghu? So it is. Liu Born sighed. He could understand why Xu Teng still rushed forward without fear, even knowing that there was someone in ambush waiting for them. Arrived, several people stopped and looked at the building in front of them. Chapter 381, Different Ways. Ordinary rectangular buildings, built with unknown black materials, have no windows. Visually, there is only this door in front of them. At the same time, it is also the environment, or the valley. The surrounding environment is all covered with black mist, which gives people a kind of psychological pressure. There's something bad in there. Actually it does. Bringing sacrifices back to life becomes another way to continue allegiance to death's most loyal minions. Just thinking about it makes me sick. Captain, what should we do? Liu Born subconsciously began to ask Yuan Farron. Anyway, every time he acts, Liu Born plays the role of a thug. As for the action plan, which consumes brain cells, let the captain formulate it. At this moment, Yuan Farron subconsciously looked at Xu Teng beside him at the same time. He still complained in his heart, can't you see that academician Su is there? This kind of action, of course, must follow the plan of academician Su. He has understood since the last time Xu Teng provided timely support. Academician Su is not only omnipotent in scientific research, but also cannot be underestimated in tactical actions. In such a short period of time, it is possible to completely control the field. It can be done not only by relying on Xinghu and sanctioners afterwards. The action of academician Su will definitely become an example of a classic battle, which will be promoted and studied across the country. Academician Su, do we want to act now? Yuan Farron turned his head and asked. Xu Teng did not answer directly, but asked Xinghu, Xinghu, is there really no trace of us on the opposite side? No real. Hearing Xu Teng's question, Xinghu thought for a while and continued to answer. At least not now. It seems that the other side already knows our whereabouts. As soon as these words were said, everyone felt the hairs on their backs stand up. It was a little too quiet on the way. We didn't meet anyone, not even any creature. This is not right. If you think about it, there is only one possibility, that the other party knows our whereabouts. After Xu Teng's explanation, everyone was stunned. Really, they were all prepared for conflict with people. As a result, this journey is like going around in your own yard, unobstructed. If it weren't for the black mist tumbling in the sky overhead, reminding them that this moment was in a different place, everyone almost thought that they were out for an outing. After pondering for a while, Xu Teng said, now that we know, we don't need to deliberately hide our tracks. Just rush in and that's it. Rush in directly. Yuan Farron was stunned when he heard the order, and then he reacted. Yes, the whereabouts have been exposed, so why hide anyway? No matter what they do, there will definitely be something arranged in front of them waiting for them. And they cannot avoid it. Break the door. Okay. Hearing this sentence, Liu Born was eager to try it. It's been a while since I put on the sanctioner mecha, and I haven't tried its power yet. Do you want to activate the blaster gun? Yes, yes, yes. Liu Born couldn't wait. Following the order, a faint blue light rose from the center of the raised palm. Next second, boom, the door of the research base shattered in half and exploded. Walk. Xu Teng took the lead. Everyone kept in formation and filed in. It is still Wang Doi. After pressing the first time I came in, I saw the same situation as before, and in the corridor, the broken experimental device, and even the broken glass under the feet. Xinghu, turn on the lights. Okay, the sanctioner mecha has its own lights for lighting. Before Xu Teng started the design, he considered all kinds of unexpected situations. Therefore, when assembling, every inch of space is fully utilized. When the lights came on, the 5 people who followed couldn't help but gasp. Compared with the corridor, the experimental device here is not only broken, but there are some things on the ground that are not available outside. There are broken materials everywhere, torn to shreds. The surrounding area is all covered with blood, some blood scabs that have become dark red, and some fresh ones from a distance. There are even torn limbs lying on the ground. There are not many. There are every few steps as for those broken experimental devices. There are dark red human handprints and other indistinguishable shapes. If they didn't know that this was a research base, several people even thought they had entered the slaughterhouse. Really, as academician Su said, in some places, even if you know it's a trap set by the other party, you will also jump in because there will be the information you want. Xinghu, scan. If there is any result, report it immediately. Clear. The spectrum centered on them begins to diffuse, analyzing the information that can be gathered in the field. Be careful. If you find anything, report it immediately. Clear. The lightsaber squad immediately spread out to investigate. After all, they are the top special forces in active duty, and they still have professional qualities. Isn't it the research base of the Legion of the Living Dead? Why does this happen? No matter how you look at it, it looks like a zombie outbreak. As Xu Teng inspected the scene, he began to live his own guesses in his heart. The people who are sent here are sacrifices from the dead, and resurrection is not difficult. Dead sacrifices, suddenly resurrected, attacking them uncontrollably. Those limbs that were torn and thrown on the ground can still be seen wearing some professional uniforms. The identity can be shown as the researchers here. No, you can control the army of the living dead from so far away. Moreover, you can use the most accurate way to locate them and let them attack the base of the beautiful country. Finally, under the counter-sanction, it is possible to self-destruct, no matter from which point of view. It is not the reason for the technical out of control. There is no sudden uncontrolled attack on those researchers after resurrection unless, not the same technology. Xu Teng reacted a little. In this base, the study of the living dead is just a matter of course. There is also the main purpose, that is to develop mythical creatures suitable for the civilization of death. Moreover, they are cultivated in the way of raising goo. It seems that a blind spot has been found. At this moment, the spectrum emitted by Xinghu has turned back. All 6 heard Xinghu's voice. The general conclusion has come out. You say, the research on the living dead conducted by the base is only part of it, and the most critical experiment of the other part is to cultivate mythical creatures. Sure enough, it was exactly as I guessed. However, their approach is a little different. Chapter 382 Grafting Technology. The way is a little different. Hearing Xinghu's explanation, the lightsaber team asked suspiciously, what's the difference? The research on mythical creatures and the living dead can't be put together, interlaced like mountains. This sentence was unremarkable in the ears of the lightsaber team. In Xu Teng's ears, it was like thunder. The place that I couldn't figure out at first was like lightning flashed by, and I had an idea in an instant. You mean, grafting the study of the living dead with mythical creatures? Xu Teng murmured, turning his head to look at the limbs around him that were torn to the ground. Pen Fun Library and exploded experimental equipment, with red human handprints printed on it, as well as those of unknown creatures. They won't raise the reanimated living dead to be goo. Or, some so-called scientific researchers are also experimental subjects. When the few people standing beside heard Xu Teng's words, their scalps exploded instantly, the kind that went numb. Fuck. Academician Su, you don't scare me. Although Maliki is a mutant, it didn't take long for him to be. Moreover, he grew up in a slum since he was a child, and his knowledge was limited. When I heard this kind of experiment that seriously violated human morality, my first reaction was nausea. Really Nima's disgusting, but considering the situation at the scene, everything makes sense. The entire base was built to research and create mythical creatures. The clear sky outside, the twisted plants, and the eerily quietness along the way, everything makes one point. This is not a place for humans to understand. It exists only for experimentation. Originally, they were created to raise Xu, the strongest mythical creatures, in order to adapt to the civilization of the god of death. All the countries on the blue star will be flattened in order to gain power. They let the black mist erode their bodies, and the thought of wanting to gain power from the pentagram is rooted in their own thinking now. Want to speed things up? What's wrong with the grafting technology? In other words, what's wrong with being an experimental body yourself? Once it will be done, the bones will die. Maybe it's the exception itself. Yes, that is what academicians suggest. At least, from the feedback I've gotten, that's it kind of, using the living dead for grafting and cultivation. Even the option of active registration is opened. Some researchers have no worries in order to improve their status. After the incident, the entire living dead base was out of control. Hearing this sentence, the lightsaber team subconsciously stood in a defensive formation. Yuan Farron was at the front, Wang Doi was behind him, and the other two stood beside him to protect Xu Teng in the middle. One by one, they looked around cautiously because Xinghu's sentence has a meaning behind it. Perhaps the experimental body is still in there. When they got to the base, the door was closed. When I came in, I saw a mess like a slaughterhouse. This proves that some dehumanizing things have not yet come out. After he vented a lot in it, he found the places for where everyone invariably turned their attention to the depths of the base. It was dark there. However, everyone understands, there must be something they want in it. Can you get more information? Unfortunately, I can't. From the information from the spectrum, I can only analyze this. Others, it is necessary to collect information on the spot for further confirmation. Okay, then let's go inside, Xu Teng said to the people in front of him. They came in to find out the answer, and the grafting of mythical creatures on the living dead is big news. If the technology is mature, what kind of disaster Blue Star will face? They dare not even think about it. Su Zhao's ability is obvious to all, control all animals. This is just the basics. It's just that under the immoral experimental process of the high priest, what absurd things will be born no one could imagine it. Some evil things are better not to be born. And Blue Star will be turbulent once it is born. There was no objection to Xu Teng's proposal. Everyone knows what it is for. By the way, you don't need to protect me. If there's any danger, I can handle it. Xu Teng turned to Yuan Farron and ordered, I am more familiar than you when it comes to manipulating sanctioners. You yourself just be safe. The lightsaber team was stunned by Xu Teng's words. After a while, Yuan Farron woke up. Yes, in the actual combat that day, they couldn't do it themselves. Understood. Wang Doi was in charge of pressing the rear and being vigilant. The other two spread out and keep a certain distance from me. Let's go to check the information of the base. Okay then, what do I do? Maliki suddenly said. You. Xu Teng glanced at him and suddenly thought of something. Can you sense the breath on the other side? Maliki was taken aback for a moment, then he understood what Xu Teng was talking about. It used to be possible, but then their high priest didn't know what ability he had. Since then, my perception has been very weak. It's okay, try again this time. There are corresponding functions in the sanctioner mecha given to you. That's why the sanctioners assigned numbers to lightsaber squads in the first place. Each of the 5 people has different focuses, and has something that others do not have. Therefore, Xu Teng took their respective characteristics into consideration. Yuan Farron once reported that Maliki's perception of positioning actually depends on 2 types. One is the connection of the pentagram, and the other is based on smell. The pentagram connection. Xu Teng is not easy to solve, but the smell, it's not that hard to fix, especially with the computing power of a supercomputer like Xinghu. The smell can be found out and analyzed. It's really not difficult. Okay, then I'll try. As soon as he finished speaking, Maliki closed his eyes. Feel it carefully. At this time, the 3 advancing on the other side cooperated with each other through the headset, searching for the house with Xinghu's help. Everything went smoothly in the depths of the base. There are uniform exchange rooms, rest rooms, living quarters. If you take out the bloodstains and broken things scattered all over the place, everything is normal. After data analysis, they once resisted, trying to keep themselves alive, but everything was in vain, and all became the food for that creature. Listening to Xinghu's explanation, the 3 frowned. Those traces had already indicated that he was here, killed in a big way. Only the last house. The 3 looked to the deepest place. Chapter 383. The monster in the room. Compared to the previous ones, the last room is a little off. Here's what's wrong. The door is closed. The room that the 3 people in front of them explored was either violently destroyed, or it didn't even have a door. The whole thing is a sign that something unexpected happened here. Now, there is actually a whole door still closed. When an abnormal situation occurs in a strange environment, It means that there is something unexpected in the abnormal place. The three looked at each other with caution in their eyes. Not long ago, Xinghu also popularized to them what had happened here: the grafting of the living dead, the breeding of mythical creatures. Either way, it's not something they can accept, especially, facts have proved. Out-of-control situation has occurred that's even more impossible. Rushing to the front of that room without any preparation, it is a pure death situation. Or, start Xinghu for analysis first. Makes sense, we haven't used it yet. In fact, when the lightsaber team did not speak, the star in the sanctioner mecha had already activated itself. Analyze the room in front of you. However, the result was another Xinghu, who has always crushed the opposite side, is in a situation of being suppressed at this moment. The first round of analysis was frustrated, and big data is being called for the second round of analysis. During more in-depth sampling, preliminary analysis, there was a violent impact on the door, and the shape was protruding to the outside, not concave. A preliminary conclusion is drawn: the monster in the room may be the initiator of the endgame. It's just that people were locked in another way. Big data simulation in progress, the possibility of being able to wake up, shut in. Several people in the lightsaber team were stunned, and they are still at the scene of the endgame. A conclusion can be drawn from any point of view. The monsters created in the laboratory have not been controlled. On the contrary, it became like this because it was completely out of control. But now, Xinghu is speculating from the information everything is under control. But, does it seem like someone did it on purpose? The previous news also reached Xu Teng. He frowned slightly. Xinghu's analysis reminded him that the way inside the base was different from what he did in the first place. Su Zhao survived the role of mythical biological enzymes by himself and became a new generation of genetic biological warriors. The blood of the mythical creature that it could withstand is flowing in its body in the base of the living dead. Another more violent and direct research is carried out. Raise Gu, through the survival of the fittest. The best tyranny genes are directly extracted in this way. The surrounding misery can also be analyzed a little. It's not that the experiment is out of control, it's that the strongest experimental subjects are screened out. Buzzing, a voice came from inside Maliki's sanctioner standing next to him. Xu Teng suddenly turned his head and looked straight at him. When it was originally designed, he added a function: if you find something, there will be a prompt sound, and buzzing is a prompt sound. The evolved ability of the High Priest has indeed weakened the pentagram connection between them and Maliki. However, something else was strengthened. For example, smell, usually separated by so far. Even the mutants cannot locate the chosen people of God by smell, but with a deliberate addition and amplification of the sanctioner sensor, everything has become a reality. The humming sound, when it sounded, he did smell an odor. Ordinary God's chosen people have a dull smell, but the black mist can indeed change the human body and increase the physical quality of the individual. But, when the ability is not being used, the smell is flat, just like the breeze. This is also the characteristic that the pentagram does not have the ability to move and mobilize at this moment. What Maliki smells is extremely grumpy atmosphere. It seems to hate everyone and doesn't want to accept anyone. Obviously the other party didn't do anything, just stood there, and it wanted to shred it. And an unusual smell emerges, like the kind outside. The one outside. When this idea came up, Maliki was also stunned. I obviously just came to the base. Why do I compare this smell? More familiar. I thought of this for the first time. There are plants outside, dark fog, and, suddenly, Maliki's pupils widened and he knew what the smell was. Distortion. That's right, a twisted smell, because this smell is everywhere in the base. Maliki immediately thought of this when he smelled it. Quick, you leave that room. Maliki was in the voice system, shouting loudly. The monster in the laboratory is inside. It seems to be waking up. Wake. Several people in the lightsaber team were shocked and immediately retreated. The palm lifted up, glowing golden light. The ion energy shield was activated immediately. The lightsaber team is not afraid of these monsters. After wearing the sanctioner mecha, they are more confident. However, there is no need to die with such a strong artificial intelligence assistance system. Xinghu is here, why not play its role? Just as a few people were going backwards, a sinister voice sounded out of thin air. Ha ha ha. I didn't expect that you would find something wrong right away. However, it doesn't matter anymore. Everything around has started to lock up anyway. Locked, what's the meaning? Xu Teng subconsciously looked towards the base gate. Although the door is indeed broken, the black mist is beginning to emerge here, like the thick fog constantly accumulating. Xinghu's alarm sound passed into everyone's mind. Warn. Unknown energies began to build up, attempting to crack. Cracking failed. Collect data for analysis. Compare databases. Comparison is successful. The energy formed by the black fog is similar to an ion energy shield. and all the surrounding areas have been blocked. Temporarily unable to break the shield, please be careful. As soon as the prompt sound was finished, a surprising movement came from the room that was originally in the deepest place. Boom thump thump. Every beat is like the beating of a war drum. Using Xinghu's vision analysis, we can clearly see that the door of the room is starting to bulge out continuously. I see. No wonder, what Xinghu said, it is not out of control, but let it carry out slaughter. It really is a guinea pig. Chapter 384. The lightsaber squad and Xu Teng, who was standing not far away, frowned. The power of the monster can be seen from the folds of the gate that protrude from it. Actually, this is not the most important point because they have sanctioners. They are not afraid of the power-type experimental products. To some extent, there will be some advantages. It's just that the product of the laboratory can only be such a simple thing as power. The twisted creatures and the experiments of the mythical creatures must have another development. Ha. The next thing is to wait for you to have a good time with them. Don't let me down, presumably, even if you are able to survive. It will not be easy. When the black mist completely formed a shield and trapped several people at the base, the sound that came out was also absorbed. Xu Teng frowned, which is probably why they didn't meet anyone else along the way. It has already been discovered, waiting for you to enter the trap. The outside is just a test. The one here is the big move. Can you crack the shield formed by the black mist? A lot of computing power has been invoked, and it cannot be cracked for the time being. Is there an estimated time? Boom. With a loud bang, the door of the room was completely blown open, turning into pieces flying everywhere. Boom thump thump. The sound of heavy footsteps came, and a figure began to walk out from the dark part of the room coming. Everyone's breathing became rapid. Twisted creatures, they've seen all over the place along the way. There is a constant psychic attack on them. Everyone walked cautiously, for fear that the conditions for an attack would be triggered accidentally. It was all right along the way today, facing an unknown creature head on. I am still a little nervous. When the footsteps stopped, a strange creature stood in front of everyone. Although it looks like a humanoid, it is not just a humanoid. 4 legs, one is a man, one can be seen as a wolf, and the last 2 can be vaguely identified as plant stems. Looking up, the body becomes a flesh ball with many things wrapped in it. The limbs of unknown creatures are similar to the hands and feet of the human body. And there are even white scientific research clothes place. The so-called head is also a ball of flesh that is all kneaded together, and the black mist keeps rolling. Just looking at it, Xu Teng felt a little dizzy in his head at this time. Xinghu's alarm also sounded. Warn. The opposite can carry out mental attacks. Please do not directly look at it. Looking at each other will greatly weaken the sanity value, which will affect the confusion of thinking. Can't even look at each other. Several people were shocked and compared the mental attack it could cause with the obstacles encountered along the way. What kind of thing can those mental attacks of the latter count? Usually can be resolved by Xinghu, but just by looking at the experimental product, I almost couldn't control myself. What is it? According to the data sampling, the analysis results are the researchers and experimental subjects in the base. After the experimental products successfully resisted the experiments of the mythical creatures, they began to choose to let them join themselves. Join yourself. With this method, pretty disgusting. I really can't beat you, so choose to join. Just when everyone wanted to ask further questions, Xinghu came with a new prompt voice. Alert, alert. The presence of a large number of identical experimental products was detected. Plenty of, same, what are you talking about? But then, everyone understood what Xinghu meant. Dong dong dong. The sound of footsteps sounded one after another, and one figure came out of the deepest room standing next to each other. They looked at a few people in the distance with the same eyes as they looked at their prey. It is obvious that the opposite person looks like this, and he can't express any emotions. Everyone can feel each other's emotions. If they look delicious, they must eat them all. So many. Fuck. Liu Born's face changed dramatically. Only then did they understand something. That sentence. Let them have a good time with you. This is what it means. Hurry up. Let's attack first. Don't worry about it so much. When Yuan Farron gave the order, he raised his hand and directly adjusted the output of the blaster to the highest level. The faint blue light gathered in his hands. The next second, it exploded directly in the experimental product population bomb. Blood splattered and stumps flew around. The 4 legs were directly blown off. The meatballs combined to form the body exploded. An unknown liquid began to splash. Surprisingly, the surrounding experimental products seemed to be attracted by something. They turned around to share the food. The sudden change made everyone stunned. What is this operation? Why eat the same kind? The next second, Xinghu came with a voice explanation. After eating, the strength of the experimental product is increasing, and weaknesses are beginning to appear. Red marks began to appear on the limbs of the experimental product. and Xinghu marked it as a weak point. Please strike immediately quick, hit those positions. Following Xu Teng's roar, everyone began to react. What are you doing? Eating your own kind can also increase your strength. It really is a guinea pig. Various micro-missiles began to emerge from the sanctioner mechas, hitting precisely their weak spots. For a while, the mourning continued, and everyone felt that their spirits had been impacted a little. Alert, spiritual power is being eliminated, and overall energy is declining. Although the mental attack was diffused, the energy in the sanctioner is declining again, which is not a good thing. The situation was a bit chaotic at this point, and the experimental product of the weakness marker turned into another kind of supplement. No, is that all? Why does he look like he's not very smart? Yuan Farron asked suspiciously. Pen Fun Library. Come out and be beaten by us, then eat the same kind, replenish the body, and be beaten by us again. No, no, Su Zhao said suddenly. What's the matter? Did you feel something? Hearing Xu Teng's question, Su Zhao explained, I felt a kind of breath, similar to the breath of the same kind. These are just that person's subordinates, hoo-ha-ho. At this moment, a roar resounding through the sky appeared. All the little brothers who were not very smart stopped their actions, turned their heads, and looked at the group of people in front of them. Obviously, there are no eyes on the opposite side. There was only a surging black mist above his head, and he couldn't even see his expression. But all have a feeling, we are being targeted. Roar, the younger brothers collectively screamed and rushed towards them. If you are listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means it was downloaded and re-uploaded without effort. We warmly invite you to visit our channel, Fanfic World. There you will find the original version of this story and many other novels of various genres. We look forward to seeing you dive into a world of incredible novels. Chapter 385. The Deepest Room. Again, everyone was taken aback by this sudden change. A second ago, the unsmart little brother frantically took nourishment from the same kind, and the next second, everyone was enlightened, and rushed out in unison. Retreat, Yuan Farron shouted violently. The members of the lightsaber squad have always been on alert. Never underestimate these nondescript creatures. Pen Fun Library. On the contrary, it has always been a big event to get the attention of the entire living dead base. Maybe the weirder the creature, the stronger the strength. Since being yelled at by their boss, the not-so-smart little brother seems to have received a new order. I can kill the person in front of you, and you don't need to worry about the others. Therefore, no matter how the fired micro-missiles bombed the same kind and shot that attractive juice, after all, no creature would return to absorb nutrients from teammates. They kept chasing the lightsaber squad, and some of them even broke through the defense and rushed towards Xu Teng and Maliki, who were standing not far away. After all, as the boss said, everything standing is our enemy. Seeing that the lightsaber team had the urge to come to support, Xu Teng immediately shouted loudly, don't worry about me, you can just protect yourselves. There is a certain distance between each other, and there are a lot of experimental products entangled. If you rush over, there will be unexpected situations. It's better to maintain the status quo. Besides, Xu Teng is not a weak scientific researcher who needs the protection of the other party. When the opponent rushed up, the golden shield opened and instantly blocked the impact of the opponent. Boom! Xu Teng took a step back after being hit. I didn't expect that. Their own strength is quite strong. As soon as the hand is raised, the blaster gun directly turns on the highest level, and shoots at the mouth of the creature. A boom! The experimental product was directly smashed, and the torn limbs even moved. Now, the base is in complete chaos. There are experimental products everywhere. Roaring and pounding incessant. Bang bang bang. The sound is endless. The lightsaber team turned on the golden shield, and there was no accident for a while, but every time it hits, the golden light will always dim a little in the face of the blaster gun, which was not at a disadvantage to the siege. He began to feel exhausted. Experimental product must be turned on to the highest level of energy output to be able to shoot one. If the second gear is turned on, the blue light output will not even cause damage to the experimental product. How did their technology develop so fast? Xu Teng was a little startled, and at the same time turned around to avoid the impact of the opposite experimental product with a wave of his hand. He aimed the blaster at the latter's head, and it was a shot. Boom! The faint blue light penetrated a black fog, and it was another precise shot. The huge body of the experimental product fell directly, making a boom. Another one. Maliki beside him was dumbfounded. Originally, he thought, so I am the 1 in a million mutant, and there must be something special about me. The Sanctioner Mecha also assisted the super combat system of Xinghu strengthen and strengthen. Then am I not particularly stubborn? Take a look at me and perform a face-to-face show. An experimental product that is not very clever with a hammer result. The moment the opposite side rushed over, he almost didn't dodge it. A classic face to the ground. looking up to see Xu Teng's perfect dodge, plus a perfect headshot Maliki. No, who of the two of us is more like a fighter? It turned out that when I had the opportunity to put on the sanctioner, I must be as strong as academicians suggest, an assumption, not a question. Xinghu, why is the golden light of the shield dissipating? As the battle dragged on, Xu Teng noticed something unusual. It's not that the golden shield of one team member dimmed, but the shields of all team members participating in the battle darkened. Moreover, the most crucial point is, the energy is indeed endured, but no energy is converted into it in the past. The most buggy part of the shield did not appear at this time. Why hasn't the damage been converted this time? Usually, energy is not in a hurry, but now it is different. The sanctioner not only has to maintain the combat function, but also offset the ubiquitous spiritual attack. Let the sustainable time begin to plummet. It is the black mist pollution. Every time the shield resists the collision attack of the experimental product, the black mist on their bodies slowly eroded into the shield, and the golden color of the shield gradually dissipated. Because the voice channel is open, the other people were shocked when they heard it. The bright golden color of the shield is not only a sign of opening, but also a symbol of other things. For example, when the golden light is completely wiped out, it is the moment when the shield is completely broken. At this time, the black mist can erode the shield. This is not good news. Boom! It withstood the impact from the opposite side again, and the displayed shield data jumped down a little again. Then what should I do? Xu Teng asked frantically while filing in the light of the blaster gun. The data has just been analyzed, and it is related to the black fog. Here, be specific. We couldn't get out because the black mist formed an air shield that surrounded us as a whole. The experimental products have a certain relationship with the black mist here, so when they hit, they establish a short-term connection with us. At this time, the black mist eroded the shield through their impact. After a long time, the golden light of the shield drops down particularly obviously. I see. No wonder, I said, why these experimental products are crazy and like to hide us, Yuan Farron said loudly while walking frantically. Then is there any way? Wang Doyu, who has been in the cooling off period, can clearly hear the emotional changes in his voice at this time. Killing them will not reduce the concentration of the black mist, nor will it reduce the erosion of the shield. Wait. I seem to have found something. In the next second, Xinghu's voice became excited. It's him, the one who hides in the depths and controls them. When I was doing data analysis just now, I detected a wave of black fog energy. The fluctuation points directly to the deepest part of the room. The deepest part of the room. Everyone began to realize the roar just now. With that roar, the younger brothers, who were not very clever at first, immediately combined, no longer regarded the splash juice of the same kind as a tonic, and turned their eyes to them. Academician Su, I'll go. Yuan Farron reacted immediately through Xinghu's analysis. The situation has become clear. There's their boss in the deepest part of the room. If you solve the boss, you may be able to get more information with Xinghu's data reading ability. Chapter 386. Another purpose. Hearing Yuan Farron's proposal, the rest of the lightsaber team didn't feel that anything was wrong. They were originally from the special forces, and even with this sanctioner mecha, that did not change their hearts. If there is any mission request, I will be the first to rush forward. However, Xu Teng, the core of the team, rejected the proposal. No, I'll go. Yuan Farron, who is about to charge, suddenly stopped moving at this time. The surrounding experimental products discovered the opponent's flaws and carried out a collision charge. The former quickly turned on the shield and was preparing for the impact. Boom. Suddenly a faint blue light on the side solved the experimental product. Yuan Farron turned his head in surprise and saw Xu Teng. Academician Su, he muttered. What came here suddenly? Was he still some distance away from him just now? The reason why Xu Teng made this decision was not just nonsense on the spot. The black fog can erode the ion energy shield, and these black fogs are also related to the boss in the deepest part of the room. In a way, everything is related to technology, whether it is an experimental product or a mythical creature. The side that is shown later is technology that far exceeds that of Blue Star. Not all of them have to do with so-called theology. Yuan Farron was just the captain of a special team. As for tactics, he was fine. What is the connection between sense and technology? No, that is absolutely impossible to find a connection even with the assistance of a supercomputer like Xinghu. There is still a lack of attention to detail in this aspect alone. Xu Teng crushed anyone present as for manipulating the sanctioner. Sorry, Xu Teng is a human with intermediate mecha power. Don't talk about protecting yourself under the circumstances of full firepower. Xu Teng was confident enough that everyone present would not be threatened with their lives just now. Xu Teng was just collecting data while thinking about how to break the game. Are you alright? Xu Teng turned to Yuan Farron and asked. Well, It's fine. Several other members of the lightsaber team also saw this scene, and their expressions were a bit complicated faced with these experimental products. They actually struggled a bit unexpectedly. Xu academicians can come to anyone's side in an instant. It shows that in the aspect of manipulating the sanctioners, the level gap between them is still a bit large. As long as I can put on the sanctioner, I will definitely be able to have the same skills as academician Xu at this moment. Everyone was silent. Imagination is still beautiful after all, but the gap between reality is very large. Originally, I was worried that academician Xu's decision was a little reckless. Looking at it now, it's completely unnecessary. Academician Xu, you can go in with confidence. Just leave everything to us. Yes, you are better at investigating everything related to so-called scientific research. That's right. Didn't Xu Zhao also come out of your laboratory? Maybe, you can have other harvests. The lightsaber team and the mutant Maliki all stood beside Xu Teng one after another. Tell him with action. We will be your wall to help you block any attack. Boom. The sound of sniper rifles roared only when Doi was in the dark, shooting and harvesting the lives of the experimental products. Okay, you guys will stay here. I'll go first. Xu Teng was not hypocritical at the moment, and spoke directly. Well, academician Xu, leave this line of defense to us with confidence. After saying this, several other people rushed towards the experimental product again. One by one shouted loudly, attracting the attention of the experimental product. This group of grotesque creatures assembled with twisted life, regardless of Xu Teng, frantically attacked the lightsaber squad. There is a big one. You must give the grandfather the momentum of death. Xu Teng rushed towards the depths of the room, sorting out the information he had previously obtained in his mind. According to Xu Zhao, when it was north of Bam City, it fought against a devil wolf under the command of death. Although there are winners and losers, however, the devil must have an idea for Xu Zhao, the guinea pig. Afterwards, the high priest fled to eastern Afghanistan and upgraded his abilities in nearby countries. It also took control of the territories of these countries, and came an open declaration of independence. The intention of the other party to do this is to tell everyone, Blue Star is the place that the god of death likes. And we will never give up. A large group of people were also recruited in the dark, perform various rituals and gain technological bonuses from the god of death. The reason for this was not because the death god had suffered great setbacks in the Dragon Kingdom, no matter whether it was a frontal confrontation or a secret confrontation. That the meaning behind these bases is a bit deeper. On the one hand, it is to develop its own technology, and on the other hand, think boldly. Why not let some people come? The conflict between the beautiful country and the high priest has never been one this side can be dropped. On the other hand, combined with the news of the devil wolf, coupled with the communication with the god of death, it is easy to judge one point. There are mythical creatures in the team that goes out to snipe them and transformed into mythical creatures suitable for civilization. Raising Gu is indeed one method, but it might be that there is another method, realization of real objects. Thinking of this, Xu Teng said eagerly, Xinghu, is there an abnormal energy aggregation nearby? I have been paying attention to it all the time, and I have not found any abnormal energy aggregation. Xu Zhao felt strange to Xu Teng's inexplicable reaction and asked cautiously, Academician Xu, have you found something? After all, he came out of Xu Teng's laboratory, and Xu Zhao knows its creator very well. I found something. Xu Teng calmed down and explained, the goal of the Living Dead base is to research mythical creatures. For this purpose, Xu Zhao also agreed, otherwise, there would not be so many disgusting experimental products. From the information intercepted by Xinghu, I can tell that one of the methods used by the high priest is to raise Gu. Xu Zhao nodded. Twisted plants, animals, the clear sky, the black mist billowing everywhere. This piece of sky is completely polluted, but they have another purpose. Additional. Xu Zhao was stunned for a moment. He had never thought about such a thing. Yes. Xu Teng looked down at the slightly bulging part near his heart. It is a place specially reserved for Xu Zhao, so that he can feel the joy of driving the sanctioner. Another purpose is to transform you, an existing guinea pig, with a mythical creature. Chapter 387. Half-finished mythical creatures. Convert me. Xu Zhao was frightened by Xu Teng's sudden words. He clearly said that he was raising Gu, and when he put the target on himself, Xu Zhao couldn't help but tremble. Mad. I don't want to be that ghost. Have you felt any unpleasant emotions? Uncomfortable? Xu Zhao felt it carefully and replied, no, do not have it. Maybe the time hasn't come yet. Maybe I really think too much. If there is anything wrong, remember to tell me in time. Okay. Xu Zhao cooperated extremely, and at the same time unconsciously let his body tremble. He looked weak, showing a thought of academician Xu. You must cover me. Xu Teng, The play is still quite good even if Xu Zhao is taken out alone. The combat power cannot be underestimated, genetic biology warriors, but there is no soft talk. Standing in front of the door of the room, Xu Teng did not rush in, looking here from a distance. Even with Xinghu, I didn't find anything wrong, but when standing close, Xu Teng clearly felt a wave of energy. Xinghu, can you detect energy fluctuations? Yes, detected this time, Xinghu answered very quickly. Can you figure out what it is? The specific effects are not all detected, but after data sampling and analysis, we can feel the same energy as the impact of the experimental product, confirmed the conclusion just now. The black mist corrodes the ion energy shield, which is indeed related to the things in the room. Really? Xu Teng glanced back today. The lightsaber squad is still under a lot of pressure. The experimental product did not attempt to attack the defense line formed by the lightsaber team, and it seemed that it had received some order, just simply fighting against the lightsaber squad. The black mist that was originally above the head slowly floated down, forming a black surface shield to slowly resist the output of the blaster. If it drags on for a long time, they must be at a disadvantage. Go, let's go. Xinghu, remember to always pay attention to the energy changes around you. Clear. When Xu Teng crossed the threshold, he felt a kind of malice. Some eye seemed to turn towards this side, as if falling into someone else's prison-controlled viewport. Environmental mutation from the outside. The room is not that big. An ordinary experimental room, 100 or 200 square meters, is almost the same, but a moment he stepped in, his vision was infinitely extended, and he couldn't see the end at a glance. The surrounding walls also seemed to have no end. Seeing this great change, Xu Teng was stunned for a moment. No wonder there are so many experimental products in one room. It seems that the combination of the black mist and the pentagram shows another form of magic here. Boom! The golden shield opened instantly, covering the whole body in case of sudden danger. The technology of Xingchen Iron does give the sanctioner a solid defense overall. Still cannot be careless. Be careful to make the 10,000-year ship in the palm of the other hand. The blaster gun is also always ready. Xinghu, are there energy fluctuations? Xu Teng asked softly as he walked cautiously. No, academician Xu, no, get out of the way, the words are not over yet. Boom, a beam of light suddenly appeared in front of the side, hitting Xu Teng directly. Although he didn't react, the shield was on anyway. At this moment, a heavy crash sounded. What it is? Taking a step back, Xu Teng looked around cautiously. The surveillance system in the sanctioner's body is running wildly, and just now, he didn't see the other party clearly, but from the moment of impact, it can be felt that it is a person. Yes, just one person. Xinghu didn't answer yet, but Xu Zhao spoke first. Academician Xu, I have a feeling. Feel, quick, talk about it. Although Xu Zhao said just now that he didn't feel anything, but that was before entering the room. After entering the room, it was obvious that something was wrong at that moment. The energy fluctuated, and the person being watched took a look. I felt the same, and he wanted to eat me. Intermittently, Xu Zhao expressed his feelings similar. Hearing this sentence, Xu Teng was a little stunned. Judging from the figure who was hit, it is definitely not a guinea pig, the so-called same kind. That is, mythical creatures. Are there mythical creatures here? No, not possible. If there were really mythical creatures, the moment Xu Teng stepped into the base, the opponent would have dealt a severe blow. No need, play a trick with him. Please enter the urn. Combined with Xu Zhao's sentence, the other party wants to eat me, more like a half-finished mythical creature in this case. The idea of my conjecture is correct. Be swallowing up Xu Zhao and supplementing his genes, the transformation of the real mythical creature is completed. Thinking of this, Xu Teng's face became heavy. Scientific experiments have always been successful. Products and semi-finished products. Combining the process of this road, we can get a judgment. The semi-finished mythical creature is more violent and bloodthirsty than Xu Zhao and danger. So, you're a half-finished mythical creature? Xu Teng asked coldly, although I don't know if the other party can understand. However, the glance in the eyes that entered the room just now let Xu Teng understand. There will always be something in this room that can understand him. Yo, I still can't underestimate you. High Priest, I once said, if you want to rule and conquer Blue Star, you will always be the most dangerous people, not from that stupid pretty country. Before, I didn't believe it. Now, it seems that the High Priest does have a vision. Hearing the sneer on the other side, Xu Teng frowned before he could speak. Xu Zhao jumped out first. I didn't expect you to be able to lick your lackey. Change your direction and use various attitudes to kneel and lick your High Priest. What else? Foresight. Please, if you only have eyes, you can see what the hell are those idiots in the beautiful country. How can they compare with us? In a way, the gentle Xu Teng created a Xu Zhao with similar attributes to academician Tanzi. After all, The lightsaber squad is their own. Even if Su Zhao wanted to spray people, he would not speak so bluntly and would be around the bush opposite. Sacrifice, the minions of the god of death. You are also worthy, and I will save face for you. The atmosphere suddenly became heavy at this moment. It seems that the opposite side did not expect that there is a person like this at the scene. So, you are the mythical creature mentioned by the magic wolf. Chapter 388 The Path of Evolution. The person who said this sentence felt that his tone had 3 points of indifference, 4 points of disdain, and finally 3 points of oppression. Her opposite side will definitely be frightened. This is what I want. Unexpectedly, as soon as he finished speaking, he heard Su Zhao's answer. You care. I tell you, if you ask this, I won't answer. If you have the guts, come and hit me. The tone is arrogant and domineering. There's a big one. Come here. Opposite. No, you are now in the space I created. All the experimental products in the base are made by me. What are you and me dragging? Hearing that the other side stopped talking, Su Zhao continued to provoke. Cut. I know you don't dare. What kind of big-tailed wolf is pretending to be in front of me? Isn't it a half-finished mythical creature? Laozi is in a complete state, so what are you pretending to be in front of me? I tell you, quickly and honestly explain what your base is doing. Otherwise, my brother and this one in front of you, will beat you to the ground. Xu Teng. Although, I don't quite understand Su Zhao's behavior of provoking the other side in turn, but there is no need to stop it. In a way, he also hoped that the opposite party would be fooled by Su Zhao accidentally expose the flaws. You want hearing this series of words? The other side laughed angrily. Forget it, there is no need to entangle with you here. Anyway, my purpose has been achieved. It would be better if I could get the so-called perfect mythical creature. Even if you can't get it, the experiment on the other side has already started. Have fun. Choo choo choo. A few whistles blew, and the black fog, which had no response, continued to roll coming. Xu Teng felt a pity from the bottom of his heart, and the opposite was not provoked by Su Zhao. But at one point, other important news was revealed. For example, what purpose was achieved, and what is the other side of the experiment? What is this half-finished mythical creature? Boom, light and shadow flashed, and Xu Teng, who was driving the shield, was knocked back again. Looking up, the golden color of the shield was gradually eroded, and a trace of black appeared. Sure enough, it was the erosion of the black mist again. Ah, is this a mythical creature in a perfect state that is valued by the priests? It's just that. It is not that in my attack, I have been losing ground. Xu Teng was taken aback for a moment, and then he reacted. Can talk. Who are you? And you control all the experimental products outside? Su Zhao asked. Although he has not been in contact with the other side for a long time, Su Zhao has already judged from various details that the other party is very important to the mythical creature in its complete state. I am such a smart guinea pig. Of course I have to learn to ease the troubles of accurate mission. For example, I have to learn how to use formulas. Che, what is that? Isn't this something we can do by ourselves? As the figure on the opposite side approached slowly, he could clearly see his appearance. The head is still surrounded by black mist. But there is no pile of meatballs like other experimental products. His limbs are normal, and he is wearing the standard uniform in the scientific research base. It really was transformed from a researcher, when that strange voice sounded. Xu Teng had doubts. The so-called raising gu here does not include the scientific researchers in the entire base. Looking at it this way, sure enough, is the person who spoke just now your priest? Xu Teng asked. I don't want to talk to you, Xu Teng. Hearing the answer from the other side, Xu Teng whispered to Su Zhao, why don't you try it? Ro, if you guess correctly, mythical creatures don't look down on ordinary humans, even half-finished mythical creatures. Is that the one who spoke just now that you are offering sacrifices? Su Zhao asked confidently. No, your attitude can't be better. Just when Xu Teng wanted to educate Su Zhao, he heard the answer from the researchers. Yes, Xu Teng. Suddenly, I felt that the world was a little bit unfair. Why does Su Zhao ask you this way? And your answer can be so. Be humble. Yep. Just keep quiet. Could it be the coercion between mythical creatures? When this blueprint was originally drawn from Xing, it was mentioned above mythical creatures are powerful enough for other creatures. Otherwise, Su Zhao would not be able to mobilize other creatures on Blue Star by virtue of his identity. After hearing the answer from the researcher, Su Zhao's eyes lit up. It was the one who asked this on purpose just now. Just to confirm one thing, a mythical creature in a complete state, is coercion also useful for semi-finished products? Now, it has been confirmed. If so, things get easier. Hey, let me tell you, Su Zhao decided to become more and more impersonal. But just as he was speaking, The black mist on the opposite head began to emerge violently and gradually extended downward starting from the head. It became a state of black mist all over the body. Say, what did you say? Don't think that you are a mythical creature in full state, and you are qualified to be presumptuous in front of me, and tell you that you are only worthy of being my food after all. The road of evolution, with your participation, I can go more smoothly than those brothers and sisters. Boom boom boom. The surrounding black mist also began to roll violently with the words of the scientific researcher Warren. The spiritual energy on the opposite side began to rise, and it was resisting the spiritual attack. Countdown to expected attack. 3 seconds. Su Jiao. Gan, if you ride a horse, you won't recognize people no matter how you put on your pants. Wasn't it just fine? I was crushed to death by my coercion. Now what do you say? I want me to be your food and help you evolve better than your other siblings. What a joke. And many more. Other siblings. Academician Su, he still has someone. Okay, I know. Xu Teng also heard other things from the researcher's words. If that's the case, then there's no need to drag him on. Just settle him quickly and go to the next place. Now. The opposite side has completely fallen into a state of rampage. Just you? Remember, my name is Doze. Doze raised his right hand and charged for a short time, and the surrounding black mist poured in frantically just like a bottomless pit. It began to accumulate power continuously at this moment. Xu Teng just stood there quietly. Whether to open, the power of intermediate mecha turn on. Boom. Following this answer, a mysterious force began to wander between Xu Teng's limbs. Chapter 389. Think I am number 039, am scaring you? The whole body seems to be washed by a force, comfortable and full of strength. Xu Teng is different from other researchers because he once received a reward, red star energy liquid, from Xing after taking it. Even if you encounter professional special forces personnel, his strength will not be much worse than the opponent. However, the sanctioner is a mecha. Controlling the mecha does not mean that the better your military quality is, the better the effect will be. It is necessary to have a mutually adaptable physique with a mecha. That physique becomes the power of the mecha. In fact, in other civilizations in the universe, the power of mecha is a necessary course to control a mecha because, with the power of the mecha and without the power of the mecha, the combat power displayed is completely 2 levels. Intermediate mecha power is a rare good thing even in those advanced civilizations. Initially, Xu Teng suppressed his own power. If it is not clear, the other party's plan should not reveal his trump card too early. This is the philosophy that Xu Teng has always followed. Often, when a big move appears, there must be a surprise, so that the opponent can be caught off guard and can't resist. Then, in all the previous performances, Xu Teng suppressed the surge of his own power and did not let it be released. Even the lightsaber squad doesn't know how powerful Academician Su really is. The kind that came to them in an instant was just a tiny bit of power released. It's not the end, it's just the beginning at this moment. The appearance of the sanctioner mecha appeared a little light. Xingqian Tai was lit up by the intermediate mecha power, and the dark appearance gradually became the most dazzling existence in the black mist. Even if the black fog rolls, it can't stop the light of Xingqian iron. After all, one after another power began to emerge from Xu Teng's heart, and it began to expand from the limbs, and gradually combined with the sanctioner. The sanctioner is him, and he is the sanctioner in the blue light of the helmet's eyes. A hint of golden highlights was gradually added to embellish it. There is a little more sharpness in the momentum. Looking at the rising momentum on the opposite side, Doze finally recovered from his days in the beginning. The momentum given to him by the other side was just casual. Why? Then the momentum changed at this moment. Stop putting on me, and die. Doze became furious, and with a casual move, the surrounding black mist kept rolling. A long sword with a black mist on its head appeared in Doze's hand, and the black mist on the head resounded faintly and sharply. Half-finished mythical creatures are very different from gods chosen and even commanders. The key is, the skill is completely instant, and it can mobilize the surrounding black mist to become its own weapon at any time, and at the same time, the time is extended a lot, and it will not cause irreversible damage to itself in a way. The technology on the High Priest side is really developing very fast. It didn't take long for the team in Kurt City to perish, and the semi-finished mythical creature was already created. Pen Fun Library. The lethality that can be created is not comparable to other voters, but will everything turn out to be what a half-finished mythical creature like Doze thinks? The long spear rolling in the black mist appeared beside Xu Teng in an instant with a fierce cry, and Doze stabbed it directly with the most basic offensive. The aura of the spear that came along was like overwhelming, and immediately pressed down in front of Xu Teng. At this moment, Xing Hu immediately calculated and analyzed. A broadcast came out, the weakness of the attack. Analysis is underway. The opposite action has 2 focus points, the head of the spear, or the tail held by Doze. If it was an ordinary person, how could he react at this moment? Hearing the announcement, Xu Teng turned sideways. It was this seemingly simple sideways that avoided the oncoming attack at the most dangerous time. The thunderous attack passed by from the left. Xu Teng raised his left hand deliberately. The attack of the star iron and the spear created a lot of sparks at this moment. Actually, this was Xu Teng's intentional action because the violent attack has violent destructive power, but it also has a fatal weakness. That is, the follow-up is weak. Doze is obviously focused on one-shot kills. And the surrounding black mist is the limit of his strength that he can mobilize. Not to mention him, even the priest who controls the base would not have thought of this. How could an ordinary team have a semi-finished product created by evading the technology of the god of death? Attack of mythical creatures, an absolute kill in one hit. It just so happened that Xu Teng's plan was not as simple as evading attacks. The light of the star iron and the black fog on the spear are entangled. Obviously, even if the black fog in the mobilization base is still unable to compete with the light emerging from the intermediate mecha power, it's over. This was Dozer's first thought because, as a client, he knows how obvious he is to face under the violent attack. The follow-up is weak. The body that flashed quickly began to lose its balance under the force of the spearhead. Xu Teng turned around, jumped over Doze, who flew over, and instantly stretched out his right hand to grab the tail of the spear. This is another point of focus at this time. Doze's body was a little skewed, and the whole person fell out uncontrollably. Xu Teng raised his leg, and the light of Xingchen Tai immediately converged on his leg. Powers being distributed, energy mobilization is concentrated in the leg's boom. With Xu Teng's flying kick, the spear in Doze's hand immediately dropped, and the former held it firmly in his hand. The whole person flew away. He raised his hand, and the faint blue light in his palm gathered. Xu Teng would not miss the chance to beat the underdogs. The blaster gun was directly turned on to the maximum output level. Boom. The moment the faint blue light shot out, a large amount of black mist gathered on the surface of Doze's body, transforming into a black shield. Ha, just rely on this? How could you kill me? Although, Doze is now in a state of being beaten, but the whole body, that is, the hardest mouth, the laughter is filled with presumptuous emotions. So what about the weapon you take out that emits a faint blue light? This is not my weakness. The experimental products outside can all compete with the energy output of the third gear of the blaster gun. How can I not? Xu Teng chuckled. Of course I don't want to kill you with this, but do you know why I took the black spear from your hand? Hearing this sentence, Doze's heart was extremely shocked. No, impossible. How could he possibly know? No, he was just scaring me. Did you think I was scaring you, Doze? Chapter 390 Other half-finished mythical creatures. Hearing this sentence, Doze's hair stood up instantly as if he couldn't believe it. He turned his head and glanced. I saw Xu Teng holding her long sword and said lightly, "Okay, the warm-up is over. I can send you off. Let's go, go." 2 words just uttered. The light that emerged from the star iron poured into the spear, and all the black mist was expelled. At this moment, the spear became a dazzling existential boom. Next second, Xu Teng appeared in front of Doze in an instant, and with his previous posture, he stabbed the spear in his hand into the past with a most violent posture. The shield formed by the black fog appeared again, but at this time, he did not block the spear like he blocked the faint blue light just now. The shining spear drove straight in, directly breaking all the shields from top to bottom. He nailed Doze to the ground with the most violent offensive. The latter didn't even shake his body, and immediately died. In fact, Xu Teng snatched the spear from Doze's hand. Here's why. That long spear was his most powerful attack, and at the same time the best way to deal with him. The moment Doze condensed the spear, Xing Hu's voice prompted it. It is a shield and the best spear for attacking. Doze crashed. La la la. With Doze's death, the surrounding black mist rolled violently again like hot oil in a pan. Only, it is not a state of convergence, but slowly dissipating. The data has been extracted, and according to the analysis, it is concluded that the semi-finished mythical creature is the contact center point of the base. The shield energy outside the base is dissipating, the defense is weakening, and it is slowly dissolving. An anti-invasion is in progress. Boom, thump thump. Not only are the shields enveloping the base disappearing, but the capabilities of the experimental products are slowly diminishing. Originally able to resist the output of the third gear of the blast gun, today's ability is slowly declining. Whether it is defense or attack, it is declining by a large margin. Boom. Yuan Farron shot out a faint blue light again, and this time, all the experimental products surrounding it were blown away. What's going on here? The internal star broadcasts the voice. Academician Su has already killed a half-finished mythical creature, and the contact center point inside the entire base has been torn apart. The energy of the black fog dissipates, and the shield covering the base begins to dissipate. The surrounding seal has been lifted so soon, Liu Born was also stunned. On the one hand, it is surprising that there is something inside, and it really is related to mythical creatures or so-called half-finished mythical creatures. On the other hand, he was amazed at the speed of Academician Xu. We were still beating our younger brothers here, and Academician Xu directly beheaded their boss. This is a level operation. Everyone thought of the point just now. In that instant, Academician Xu came to Yuan Farron from other places. I thought it was the end, but I didn't expect it to be the beginning, and, even if this is just the beginning, actually, it does. When Xu Teng killed those, a beep sounded. Ding. Successfully killed the semi-finished mythical creature. Doze. Evaluation. Task description. The things I let you see are just what I want you to see. Do you think this is my end? I'm sorry, it's just the starting point. A second is enough for you. Reward. Open the road to the power of advanced mecha. Intimate remarks. On the way up, there are often fights. This is accompanied by many inevitable conflicts, such as now. What is the base of the high priest secretly refining? You know, can you let him go? Cannot. So, feel free to do it. Trust me, you will surely make everyone in the Reaper civilization gradually fear you. In fact, even without this reward, Xu Teng will continue to investigate. The technology of mythical creatures must not appear in the hands of the high priest. The Declaration of Independence some time ago caused so many things with so many legions of the living dead. The power of one-by-one self-destruction can also raise mushroom clouds. If there is another technology of mythical creatures that is the catastrophe for all human beings on the blue stars. For the reward from Xing, it was quite unexpected. It is actually the power of advanced mecha. Xu Teng, who has intermediate mecha power, can directly give those 2 seconds. If you really get the advanced mecha power, it seems that there is a lot of hope of victory against the high priest behind that. I just don't know how to get it. And now the rewards are not as directly describing the progress of the task as before. It brought a little bit of guess what the mission would be like. Hey, after Xing fell into deep sleep, it was indeed a bit detrimental to its own development. Fortunately, there's Xing who, at this time, Su Zhao's words interrupted Xu Teng's thinking. Academician Xu, I have tried many times, but there is no way to control those experimental products. That's what Xu Teng thought about when Doze died. It would be great if all the experimental products outside could be controlled, because there will be no shortage of bases here. Doze also said at the beginning, eat Xu Zhao, you can evolve faster than other siblings. It seems that the spirit of raising Gu is always carried through to the end in the base. No, forget it. Anyway, I didn't put my hope here at the beginning. Xinghu, have you finished collecting the information? With the death of Doze, the black fog contact center in the base broke. The black mist in the whole room dissipated, revealing the original appearance. The room is the core control room of the research center, where a large amount of experimental data and materials are stored. However, at that moment, all the data are automatically destroyed. Even if Xinghu invaded at a very fast speed, a lot of information was still lost, including a lot of core data. The collection is complete. There are 5 experimental sites in the base in total. Basically, it's the same way. There are 5 half-finished mythical creatures themselves, and 1 less with the death of Doze. There should be 4 of them, but when I followed the other party's data to invade, I found that there was 1 less. There is 1 less. Hearing this sentence, Xu Teng froze in his heart. A short sentence, in fact, contains a lot of information. Mythical creatures, the ultimate experimental target. Even semi-finished mythical creatures are still very important, and I can't wait to keep them well. But why at that moment, there will be 1 less? Chapter 391, Devouring Evolution. Xinghu, what do you think of the lack of a semi-finished mythical creature? Xinghu, who was questioned, showed a thoughtful expression immediately after. Shocked emotion slowly spread. Academician Xu, Doze once said, after digesting Xu Zhao, it can advance his evolutionary path. So, can it be explained that they can eat each other, and can also increase the concentration of blood, and finally completely evolve into mythical creatures? This view is amazing. It is entirely possible to speculate from various perspectives. Where are they? Xu Teng asked eagerly. If it is really the same as what Xinghu had speculated, that just means one thing. The experiment has already begun and the progress is not slow. When they first came in, a voice once said a word. Thank you Xu Teng for taking their experiment a step further. If you guessed correctly, that person is responsible for the sacrifice of the entire base. Perhaps the most critical time has been reached in an unknown experiment somewhere. Every minute, every second counts. It's about 10 minutes away from us. Okay, go now. Without any hesitation, Xu Teng turned around and rushed out. At this time, the lightsaber team and Maliki also heard Xinghu's voice broadcast. There are 5 such small bosses in total. I ride a horse. Everyone was shocked for a while. The experiments carried out here were the most direct and cruel. You can you up if you can't. You will become the sustenance of other creatures. There are so many experimental products in an entire base, and if they are apportioned, those immature experimental products are all combined with several human lives. Sure enough, as long as you join in, the god of death will definitely not hold you accountable. Everyone is a part. You have become the energy I need to evolve. Of course they won't be held accountable. Our all-incorporated, academician Xu, Yuan Firen, who is next to him, couldn't help but say something. I know. Xu Teng turned his head and glanced at them. Many humans on the Blue Star will have this kind of hope, and when we go out afterwards, we will definitely put everything made public. Now, let's see if we can stop the ongoing experiment. Bowing his head, Xu Teng looked at the protruding part of the mecha, where Su Zhao was sitting. Su Zhao, have you felt different energy fluctuations? According to Dozer, mythical creatures can sense each other armed with a specialized positioning machine. Xu Teng wanted to speculate about what the experiment is about today. No. After closing his eyes and feeling it, Su Zhao said with a tangled face, I didn't feel the mythical creature in its complete state, but I felt an impact, shock. Well, the fluctuations are very weak, as if they are competing against each other. In fact, if Gani knew about Su Zhao's feelings at the moment, he would definitely sigh as expected. It is a mythical creature in a complete state, and it is different from those half-finished mythical creature objects. Everything was the same as what Xu Teng felt. There was indeed a confrontation in the base. They were rushing to the remaining 4 semi-finished mythical creatures are fighting each other for life and death, and the one that just disappeared became the food intake among the other populations. Wow, it's comfortable. Sure enough. Just like what Gani-sama said, after swallowing the opponent, the bloodline of oneself will evolve slightly. There is an open field in the center of the base, which is a dual platform for the 4 of them to fight for life and death. The ground is full of gravel, and deep scars run through the entire dueling stage. The originally clean ground was full of dried blood, and some of them fell on the ground and kept smoking black smoke. 2 people looked embarrassed. A person fell to the ground, covering the wound on his body, and the black mist continued to emerge, obviously treating the wound on the other. 2 of the 4 legs of the whole body have been broken, and the other 2 legs are also scarred and bleeding continuously. The half-finished mythical creatures are not just in human form, but other creatures are needed together at the last moment. It broke through evolution. The only man standing in the center of the dual platform was blonde, although his clothes were already torn. However, the momentum is the strongest. The black mist on my body kept turning roll, looking at the 2 people who fell next to him with an absolutely tyrannical attitude. When the high priest issued the Declaration of Independence, Mark left his country and went here. My own country is completely unable to defend against the invasion of Death God's technological civilization. Sooner or later, he will die, so why not change his way of life? Come here to carry out the so-called evolution anyway. Everyone is qualified, and everyone has the possibility of evolution. Mark firmly believes that he must be the one who can make it to the end. Fact, when coming to this base, Mark was intimidated. Everything is exactly what the high priest said. Everyone is entitled to evolution and does not value others' origin. It all speaks for itself here. However, there is one thing that the high priest did not explicitly say: if you cannot evolve, you will lose your right to live here. At a certain time, even living is a luxury. Mark, who learned this, was stunned, and there was only one thought in his head: I must be able to evolve successfully. In fact, with this belief he really went through a lot and successfully became God's chosen people. Coming to this base, in that experimental base, he successfully killed other competitors and became a semi-finished mythical creature. As his strength skyrocketed, so did his ambitions. Now, I don't just want to live, I want more. Status, strength, beauty, and even become the strongest thug under Death's command. Then, Gani came to tell him, their semi-finished mythical creature carriers need to have an infighting and devour each other, so that they can evolve the complete mythical creature that the high priest wants most among them. Another competitor like them was beheaded. The 4 are here for their final duel. With his super willpower, Mark has successfully disappeared one person. The rolling black mist instantly healed all the damage he suffered. Somewhere, he felt that something in his bloodline began to break through. Kakaka. Mark twisted his injured neck and relieved the pressure, turning his head to look at the 2 people lying on the ground. He grinned and said with a smile, okay, now it's time for you to die. If you are listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means it was downloaded and re-uploaded without effort. We warmly invite you to visit our channel, Fanfic World. There you will find the original version of this story and many other novels of various genres. We look forward to seeing you dive into a world of incredible novels. Chapter 392: The Last Winner. When Mark devoured a half-finished mythical creature and digested him, everything was a foregone conclusion. No matter how hard the other two broke free, they still couldn't get their way. Looking at the two people lying beside him, Mark was very excited. I didn't expect that I have really come this far. Ha ha ha. It seems that I do have a high-level blood flowing in my body. Master Death, I will definitely become the strongest thug under your command. After the black mist rolled and absorbed the blood of the other two, he felt that something in the blood was breaking through from nothing, from small to large, slowly degenerating. Boom. The front door slammed open. A figure walked in slowly, looking at the broken ground around him, and Mark, the only one standing, nodding secretly. It seems that the effect is good, and it is indeed similar to what the high priest said. He glanced up again, the smile on his face even more. This carrier, very spiritual. It's just right as my container. Mark, who was laughing in the middle of the dueling stage, was taken aback for a moment. Before he devoured the others, he couldn't hear what Ghani said at such a distance. Now, the power is soaring. What followed was a rapid increase in the effects of various basic skills. One of the simplest. Hearing can cover an entire room. The smile froze, and at this moment Mark seemed to want to understand a lot of things the principle used to cultivate mythical creatures in the bases. Raising Gu. I originally thought that it was the selection of semi-finished mythical creatures in various experimental bases, but they immediately turned into their semi-finished mythical creatures, fighting and screening each other for life and death. What if everything is a scam? From the very beginning, all the people in the base were sacrifices just for a final proposal. The strongest half-finished mythical creature becomes my source of power for the high priest. One mythical creature in its full state is far more useful than 5 half-finished mythical creatures. The dream suddenly collapsed at this moment. Mark, who was immersed in fantasy, immediately faced the bloody cruel reality. The next second, Mark, who seemed to think of something, pouted and said gloomily, chances are equal. If I put you, if it was swallowed up, wouldn't it still be able to appear in front of the high priest? Ghani was taken aback, as if he hadn't guessed that Mark would say such a thing. Immediately afterwards, he laughed. Ha ha ha, this is indeed the truth. As soon as he raised his head, he suddenly shook his left hand. But, do you think you are qualified for this? The surrounding air squeezed in an instant, and Mark's breathing fell into a stagnant state. You? What are you? Go to hell. Before the confusion, Mark had only one thought. Damn, you are still a sacrifice, and you actually attacked and bullied me, an old comrade. There is no martial virtue at all. It doesn't count. I have to start again. Quick, quick, this way. The lightsaber team behind Xu Teng twisted and a deep scar appeared on the ground from just now. The air inside the base has changed to be more precise. The air under the black fog has changed. The black fog rolled violently, like a rushing river, and the effect was that everything in the air became heavier. Obviously the quality of the air is not so heavy because the energy of the sanctioner mecha needs to face the ubiquitous spiritual attack all the time. Everyone is running to save energy. No one knows what they need to face next, but everyone has one consensus. That is, there will never be anything good. Su Zhao, can you feel anything? After a little while, Xu Teng would ask Su Zhao. To a certain extent, professional positioning still needs professional people to do it. Mythical creatures in their full state are the best detectors, different from the first few times. This time Su Zhao felt it carefully and said hesitantly, there was an energy fluctuation just now. It's like the bloodline has evolved a little more. Evolution. The others were stunned when they heard Su Zhao's words. Are you sure? Yuan Farron asked eagerly. After Xu Teng came out of the room, he explained the whole process. There are several laboratories in the base. To be precise, all contributed to the creation of semi-finished mythical creatures. As for the half-finished mythical creature, it's not the end because of death's technology. Unlike the technology of other civilizations, the survival of the fittest is engraved in the bones. Then, it can also carry out bloodline evolution by devouring the same kind. All the things that Academician Su said at that time made several people stunned for a while. At the same time, they also looked at Su Zhao with a calm gaze. The mythical creature in its complete state was created like this in Academician Su's laboratory. There really is no comparison. There is no harm. What a difference this is. Now, what Su Zhao said has sensed energy fluctuations, and his bloodline has evolved a bit. That's what it means. The last thing they want to see must have happened behind this, eating each other up and evolving. Yeah, Su Zhao nodded and said affirmatively, my feeling is definitely not wrong, but there is another wave behind. Make that energy wave disappear instantly. It's like. Having said this, Su Zhao paused. Like what? Liu Born asked nervously. Yeah, there won't be anyone else here, I remember. Isn't it just a few half-finished mythical creatures? Just as the atmosphere became more intense, Xu Teng said a word. There's indeed one more person. Several people running cast their eyes in surprise. Is there anyone else? Who is messing with? And many more. There seems to be one person. We were trapped inside the base, and he came out to talk. Finally, when I entered the room to engage Dozer, he also talked. From the information intercepted by Xinghu, there is a person in charge of the base of the living dead. Sacrifice. Boom. Xu Teng's guess was like a bomb, exploding in everyone's mind, but it does indeed make sense. Other civilizations can't do this, but if it is the civilization of the god of death, everyone feels very normal. It turned out to be using the method of raising goo to raise mythical creatures. Then, why can't the sacrifices make all the base people all the backup options for raising goo for their high priest? It doesn't matter what means you use, just get a mythical creature in full state. At this moment, Xinghu suddenly gave a voice prompt. Chapter 393 Gani and number 039, S Confrontation. The energy in front fluctuates violently, and the concentration of black mist rises sharply. Concentration rises. This is not good news. Everyone stop. There is a conjecture in my heart. The most worrying thing will not happen. At the same time, Su Zhao also said next to him, he is coming. As if to confirm everything Su Zhao said, the black mist in the sky surged violently, like pouring cold water in hot oil. A strange energy diffused out of it, and at the same time slowly fluctuated outside. Even the lightsaber squad standing beside them felt a strange emotion spreading. It seems to want them to bow their heads and be courtiers. But there is something of a key nature missing. This is coercion. Yuan Farron immediately reacted once he and Su Zhao went outside to perform operations, and saw the latter release such things. But comparing the two, there is always a little bit of difference. Indeed, yes, Su Zhao affirmed Yuan Farron's question. It's just that there's something missing. Is something missing? He only remembered when he heard Su Zhao's words. It's just that for a moment, I want to bow my head and become a minister, not like Su Zhao, who is really angry. Even their lightsaber squads have to think about it. It's not fully evolved. Wang Dou understood. Well, it's still a little bit, and that's the last little bit. When answering the question, Su Zhao's face was a little heavy. What makes it unexpected is that the so-called mythical creatures can really evolve under the devour of the death civilization. This is a message to all the chosen people of the gods under the territory of the high priest. Su Zhao, is the most valuable prey. If someone really made it a target of arrest, it would be difficult to carry out all aspects of work under the territory of the high priest, and, maybe, some people want to swallow it directly and evolve it, and it is not impossible. It's still a little bit closer. Xu Teng's eyes became sharp. If what Su Zhao said was right, the last sacrificial priest must have realized this. Then his object must be our group of people. Mythical creatures must be mythical creatures in a complete state. Everyone cheered up. Although they are still a little short of the last point, then this last point will definitely be filled by Su Zhao. Clear. Following Xu Teng's words, everyone in the lightsaber team rallied. Bang bang bang. The ion energy shields are turned on one by one. The golden shield is particularly dazzling in color. One after another orders were issued to Xinghu, and everyone entered a state of alert. The next second the shield was just propped up, the familiar voice rang again. Hey, I didn't expect to be discovered by you. I originally wanted to secretly take away the mythical creatures in their complete state while you were relaxing. Hearing this, Liu Born laughed angrily. Yo, I haven't seen each other for a few hours, and you're talking so hard. Would you like me, sir? I'll play with you. In the face of provocation, Gani didn't panic, and said with a smile, okay, then you have to take the challenge, take the call. Two words just finished with a boom. The black mist next to Liu Born suddenly gathered. The shield hasn't turned around yet. Even Liu Born didn't see what method the other party used, so he flew upside down immediately. The whole process is violent and outrageous. Liu Born, Yuan Farron was about to rush to the former's side when suddenly a barrier formed by black mist rose between the two. Get out of here. As soon as the hand is raised, a faint blue light appears, and the first shot is the maximum output of the blaster gun. Pen Fun Librara. Boom. The barrier was recessed a lot, but it was not broken after all. Look at you. What are you doing in such a hurry? Your teammate. How can you die so easily? Gani said it easily and calmly, but his words were full of contempt. Cough cough. Captain, I have nothing to do. Everything is fine. At that moment, Xu Teng activated the intermediate mecha power when designing. He added some concepts. For example, he used the main machine, and all the sanctioners around were submachines at the beginning. He asked Xinghu if he could realize this concept because his original intention is that when the team goes out to carry out the task, there will definitely be trouble at the moment when the blow beyond the concept appears. Can you mobilize your own power? At that moment, Xu Teng mobilized the power of Intermediate mecha power. Let the light cover. Liu Boran's mecha can only mobilize a part of the weak power, but in terms of effect, it is very useful through Xinghu's voice broadcast. Liu Boran also understood what happened. Turning his head, he said to Xu Teng, "Thank you, Academician Xu." Only Yuan Farron was still a little confused at the moment. In front of everyone, there was the sound of water flowing, and then a figure began to emerge. The thin body, obviously wearing an ordinary scientific research uniform, gave people a great crisis. In particular, the eyes seemed to have vortexes hidden in them. If you look at them a few more times, you will unconsciously feel a sense of dizziness. Spiritual attack. Others responded, "Be careful, don't stare at him all the time, it will affect the operation of your thinking." Xu Teng said solemnly. Gani in front of him gave Xu Teng a feeling of extreme danger because, judging from the information just revealed and the strength of the shot, the opponent has several abilities. First, biological coercion, even if it is not in a complete state, cannot be careless. After all, second, the ability to control the black fog. To a certain extent, it is possible that the black fog in the base can be mobilized by him. Third, mental attack. Originally the ability of twisting creatures under the black fog, but for some reason, the man in front of him can. Facing Xu Teng's cautious gaze, Gani smiled. Tisk, look, I'm just standing here, but you have already begun to analyze me. Why do you have to fight for a life and death situation? Let's have a good talk, can't we? Hearing Gani's words, Xu Teng couldn't help but want to laugh, and sneered. So, that's how you and your teammates, oh no, what your subordinates said? Let them put your mind at ease and then stab you in the back at the last moment. Oh, yes. You are so thin, I'm afraid you have already swallowed and digested a few of them. What? Do you think we are all your brainless subordinates? At the end of the day, the lightsaber squad standing next to him couldn't help but laugh. Yes, if you want to fight, fight. What do you mean by asking for peace first? Oh, I know. So you are afraid of our academician Xu? Ha, you should have said it earlier. After all, what are you in our eyes? Chapter 394 Coercion. Gani, who was originally planning to watch everyone with a terrified expression, was as black as the bottom of a pot. Am I being mocked? Yes, since you are in a hurry to find death, then I don't have to say anything. Gani made a move, and a barrier appeared in front of the lightsaber team, the same as the previous one. The barrier formed by the black mist separated several people from Xu Teng. Although Mark has been swallowed and evolved, but consider the reality. He does not hope that several other people can help Xu Teng, especially since I haven't finished digesting it, and my ability is still unstable. I need to separate all these piapla. Boom. Looking at the barrier suddenly formed by the black mist, several people raised their hands. Instantly the power of the blaster was adjusted to the maximum, constantly bombarding the barrier in front of him. The faint blue light penetrated the black fog, but did not disperse. Ripples emerged from the black mist, slowly dissolving the faint blue light. Damn, the blaster can't penetrate. Damn, what is this thing? Why can it swallow the blue light? There are strong energy fluctuations. The lightsaber team was stunned. The barriers formed by this black fog also have strong energy fluctuations. In their hearts, the source of the energy fluctuations in the base of the living dead seems to have always been composed of the sacrifices that were sacrificed. At this moment, Xinghu's voice came out. Compared with the material library, analysis confirmed that the energy fluctuations generated in the black fog originated from the sacrifices. Really, those who were sacrificed? Academician Xu. We can't get out at once. You, pay more attention, Academician Xu. You can rest assured that we will be able to disperse the energy contained in it immediately. It is absolutely impossible for us to be troubled by trivial matters. Listening to the announcement of those voices, Xu Teng looked up at the thin man in front of him. So, this is your plan? First isolate them all, then find a way to defeat me immediately and get Su Zhao so peaceful. Gani was a little unhappy when he saw Xu Teng in front of him so calm. Why, are you afraid? Those energies that are sacrificed are too much, you won't use because they can really stand in front of you right away. I tell you, the only way is for you to honestly give me what I need right away. Did you hear that? While answering Xu Teng's question, Gani secretly accumulated strength. At the same time, 5 black fog barriers were summoned, which was still a bit difficult for him today. Secretly accumulating strength? Tisk, what you did is different from what you said. Xinghu's powerful computing function had already reported to Xu Teng what Gani was doing. Gani, who heard this sentence, was shocked. How did he see it? Next second a lot of dazzling light emerged from the body of the sanctioner, and it was constantly flowing like a stream of water. Intermediate mecha power instantly activated. Gani's eyes narrowed and he quickly backed away as soon as he raised his hand. The surrounding black mist rolled and turned into bowl shape and immediately pushed down towards Xu Teng. Unlike the lightsaber squad, Xu Teng didn't raise his head to use his blaster gun, and charged directly at the bowl-shaped black mist. At the moment when the two met, the light on the body of the sanctioner directly melted all the black mist. For others, the tricky black fog didn't even block Xu Teng for a second. Gani's eyes narrowed, and he immediately seemed to think of something, the power of the mecha, before he came out. The high priest had a little talk with him. One of the most critical points is, black fog. The living dead base is full of black fog, which is the focus of their transformation of the environment, but also to produce mythical creatures suitable for their civilization. The factors for the formation of the black fog are, together, the energy of the sacrifices, because, when sacrifices die, thoughts are often mixed with negative emotions. Therefore, this is also one of the reasons for the formation of black fog, and the black fog formed by negative emotions. The most feared thing is everything formed by positive energy. When it comes to positive energy, it has to be said, the power of mecha among the civilizations in which the gods of death fought. There was once a civilization that used mecha as its individual combat power. There is a learning area in their course, how to channel the power of their own mecha. Key places it is. This is the need to guide the positive energy in the body. The high priest once said a word: if the black mist and the power of the mecha collide, the black fog will be completely crushed, and there is no possibility that it will affect other civilizations with the power of mechas. Facing the death god civilization of black fog, have always had, +1, attributes. However, after speaking, the high priest laughed at himself again. I think too much? Based on Bluster's current technology, it is difficult to create mechas, let alone the power of mechas. This mission, you will certainly not be severely affected. Result: I ride a horse like the old grandpa with flags on the stage, and he said that he won't even have mechas. So what is this thing in front of me? Not only have mechas, but even the power of mechas. Seeing that Gani on the opposite side was distracted for a moment, Su Zhao immediately decided to interfere with the words, Yo, who is this? Isn't it the most powerful sacrifice? What? It turned out to be here, and I was beaten here. Then I tell you, you must pick it up. I want you to be crazy. As soon as Su Zhao finished saying these words, Xu Teng immediately appeared beside Gani. The power of the mecha covered the fist, and it slammed down at Gani. After all, judging from the current situation, the blaster gun will be blocked by the barrier formed by the black fog. Although, I don't know why the power of mecha has an absolute advantage in the face of black fog, but Xu Teng will never be soft-hearted when it comes to beating the underdogs. In particular, the camps that the two sides are in are still in the aspect of life and death hostility. After all, the black fog that Gani brought up was useless, and it didn't block it for a second with a ruthless heart. At the juncture of life and death, Gani used the coercive power of the mythical creature itself. Invisible waves rushed towards Xu Teng in an instant. Su Zhao, who had been staying in the sanctioner, was stunned for a moment, and then laughed. Haha, are you acting stupid? In front of the mythical creature in its complete state, showing coercion, Su Zhao closed his eyes, and when he opened them again, a wave of fluctuations emerged directly from Xu Teng's body, instantly crushed the coercion created by Gani, and at the same time entered the body of the former. Chapter 395. Information at the end. Different from the coercion displayed by Gani, the coercion of the mythical creature in Su Zhao's complete state is more effective. This is a high imitation product. How can it be compared with the original Master Boom? An invisible energy instantly confuses Gani's thinking at this moment. The latter immediately felt a trance as if someone was in the void, opened his eyes and glared at him. The solemn atmosphere instantly filled Gani's head, fell into confusion. The surrounding black fog all dissipated at this moment, and the barriers that were originally intended to be used for defense were not gathered together. Xu Teng's heavy punch with the power of the mecha slammed down on Gani like this boom. The other party was using his face to meet his fist, and Xu Teng's first impression was that although he is a devil, the touch of his face and hands is quite soft at this time. The airflow converged, stirring the black mist. The next second, a straight stream of air ran through Gani's back. Wherever the light went, the black mist all dissipated like a light that dispels the darkness with his punch. Xu Teng was stunned. No, I am so strong? Just kidding. In his cognition, physical combat is weaker than weapon blows. Even according to the modern technology of Bluster, no matter how you fight, I will give you a shuttle when you come up after 222, even if you are a martial arts master. After all, dust will return to dust and dust to dust within 7 steps. The gun is fast 7 paces away. The gun was fast and accurate, but now, everything in front of him has surpassed Xu Teng's cognition. This is indeed the case when the individual is not fully evolved. If the individual has reached a certain level, well, the hot weapon that symbolizes technology is nothing. Fist to the flesh is the strongest lethal. Could it be that individuals also evolve to the level of guts? At this moment, Xu Teng suddenly thought of death and the information given by Xing. Death God is a title. When the individuals in the group reach a certain level of evolution, you can get the title of Death God. In this way, technology becomes a god, also a way, because the intermediate mecha power in front of him has surpassed Xu Teng's cognition. He thought, this will be strong, but never thought, can be so strong. Got punched knee, whose whole body was a little deformed, still stood up staggeringly. You? No, I won't admit defeat. I am the strongest sacrificial under the high priest. I have swallowed the strongest half-finished mythical creature. I will not take this kind of blow to my heart. The thin body began to swell, and some energy could be seen fluctuating. Xinghu, what happened to him? According to the information database, the light of the power of the mecha caused a great impact on him. The original swallowing and evolution did not absorb all the power, and there is still a situation in the body to contend. Gani's own balance was broken by your punch. I see. Only then did Xu Teng know what was going on. It's no wonder that it's the last little bit to become a mythical creature in its full state. Rejection is the problem of Reaper's technological civilization until this time. Xu Teng had no sense. It turns out that it is so difficult for a mythical creature to come out of the laboratory in a complete state. Thinking of this, I couldn't help but look down at Su Zhao. The value of the entire living dead base is not as high as Su. No. I will never admit defeat. High Priest, I'm still waiting for me to go back. Gani, who was shocked by the rejection, tried to see where Xu Teng was standing while enduring the discomfort in his body at this moment. His mind is completely confused. The consciousness that devoured those half-finished mythical creatures has not dissipated, and kept reappearing in his mind. Do you think that if you devour us, you will be able to evolve completely? That's right, you're dreaming across here, just you. No, I won't give in to these things even if I die. Xu Teng looked at Gani, who was shaking constantly because, he knows here, things are basically over unexpectedly. Gani, who appeared so cool, could make use of the surrounding black fog with a single move. He even summoned a black mist barrier to isolate the lightsaber team. The original idea was, isolate all your little brothers, and I can attack you. In fact, it is the only big devil who was called by Gani to confront him. The results of it, one punch to the cool Gani, hammered to death. Oh no, it wasn't hammered to death. It was just a split personality. But from today's point of view, the so-called sacrifice is really nothing more than that. After all the calculations, it didn't work out. Xu Teng has something like intermediate mecha power, and the black mist that the opponent relies on to survive is completely unsightly in front of Xu Teng. Therefore, Gani, who was wielding the king in 8 fists, was automatically omitted. Xinghu, invade the base and investigate all the secrets here. Okay. With Gani turning into an idiot, the cyber defenses of the living dead base are like a fake. In a second, it was invaded by Xinghu. A large amount of information began to be transmitted. The base of the living dead is only the base for the high priest to apply for technology. At that time, let's say there were more than 10 projects. The first message alone made Xu Teng feel extremely vigilant. The living dead base is not simply to study the living dead. To be precise, it is for the research of mythical creatures. The same is true. Are the other dozen or so projects really that simple? Absolutely not. Scrolling down, Xu Teng saw other key information. For example, Starship Project, large wormhole bridge. The more I looked, the more shocked. Sure enough, the High Priest didn't take Blue Star's technology seriously at all. As a matter of fact, the other party does not take the technology of all the countries of Blue Star seriously. Reaper's technological civilization is interstellar, while Blue Star's technological civilization is only planetary civilization. The gap between scientific and technological civilizations is a whole epic. Do adults care about cruel words from children? No, I just think, if you are naughty again, you will not be beaten hard, but you will be beaten directly on the ground and can't get up. That's right, this is the case with the projects of Starship Project and large wormhole bridge. Lord Death cannot be summoned on Blue Star again. Then I will cooperate with the enemy, pave a way between the planets, and let the God of Death directly enter the Blue Star. With Blue Star's fragile defense, it is naturally impossible to stay defensively. Xinghu, have you backed up? It's been backing up all the time. At the end, there is a message in small bold originally. Xu Teng just glanced at it but stopped for a moment. Chapter 396, Technology Becomes God. Before that, Xu Teng had an idea, that is, the Grim Reaper evolved from group's explanation. God is not just a title, but can represent many things. For example, the peak of individual might. It can evolve by various means. The conflict with Gani just now also proved a point when the individual's evolution becomes stronger and stronger and the physical fitness reaches a certain height. The covering blow of the thermal weapon may not have much effect relatively speaking. The combat attack that relies on technology bonuses has more significant features. It can even cause considerable damage. So, technology has become a god. This idea popped up wildly in Xu Teng's mind. Of course, being a god is just a thought without seeing the bold font below. This is what makes Xu Teng sluggish. The last sentence of the document: it has been proved that technology can indeed become a god. There is an absolute possibility to create a god. The specific method is still under study. Simple: as long as you find the right method, you can become a god of technology. A boom sounded. Xu Teng felt his head explode. Everything is there if this method is really found. The threat of death to Blue Star can be minimized. The so-called death god technological civilization, which is fighting the entire universe, will meet its true opponent here. Xinghu, do you think this statement would be correct, because it was too shocking? Xu Teng planned to let Xinghu verify it first and relax for a while as Gani's punch was schizophrenic by Xu Teng. The black mist barriers that had trapped the lightsaber team were all scattered. Academician Xu, are you alright? Several people came to Xu Teng, and they were more worried after all, to a certain extent. The three words of Academician Xu represent too many meanings. Even the technological development of a civilization in the future is not an exaggeration. Therefore, a few people will make extra progress. But when he looked up, he saw Gani, who was punching. What is this for? It seems people are already in a schizophrenia. Everyone looked at Gani, who was constantly speaking in other voices, and their hearts were very complicated in a short period of time. The top special forces of the Dragon Kingdom were trapped in a black fog. There is no way to get out of the barrier. Academician Xu has already solved the important portion of the problem. So, we are not as strong as Academician Xu alone. There was a slight tremor in the hearts of several people. Sometimes knowing the truth is actually a hard thing to do. The truth is too cruel. Ding. The test has been completed. All the records in the file are true, and the words in bold at the end cannot be wrong. However, they confirmed this, and they did not find in the relevant archives what methods should be used to become a god with technology. How to do it? We need to find a way ourselves. Well, I see. It's a pity. If you can find out how technology becomes a god in the archives inside Blue Star's overall technology is bound to make another big step forward. When he turned his head, he saw several people standing still. The suppressed breathing came from the voice channel. Although it has been restrained a lot, the heavy breathing can still be heard. Academician Xu, I heard right. Technology becomes a god. Really? Is there really such a way? It's like a god of death. Actually, it's all made possible by technology. Even Maliki couldn't help but said, does that mean that I have that possibility too? The essence of human beings is a repeater. Especially when you hear news that is too shocking, you will immediately deny it. Then, after it was confirmed, I couldn't help but read it again, hearing everyone's doubts. Xu Teng said, didn't you hear all of them? It's just, it has been confirmed, but there are not enough ways to achieve it. We still need to continue to work hard to find this method. Bikwaku, the more expectations, the greater the disappointment. Xu Teng has tried his best to suppress everyone's expectations. Even if it is possible to become a god with technology, the price paid in the end will not be small. In fact, most of Blue Star's overall resources are placed on one person, but in the eyes of several people in the lightsaber team, it has a different meaning. The eldest of my family will soon have the opportunity to stand on the same starting line with death. Isn't it an interstellar civilization? Pass for a while, we can also be promoted to interstellar civilization. What about the god of death? It's not bad for our technology to become gods. Anyway, everyone is a god. Do you really think I'm afraid of you? Xu Teng, who was the party, was listening to the voice of the end of the mission. Ding. Mission, the secret of the laboratory. The settlement has been completed. Rating, S. Task description, even if it is the soul of a half-finished mythical creature that has been fused with several people, it has not been schizophrenic by my punch. Facts have proved, don't always think of relying on others. Relying on yourself is the most correct way. Reward, the power of advanced mecha. Intimate remarks, the power of advanced mecha is a little more difficult. To be precise, it cannot be activated without strong willpower. Of course, sometimes it's not just willpower, but something else. As for the so-called technology becoming a god, I can provide you with a small hint. There are ways to do it, but it's not a price you can afford at this stage. Hearing this series of voices, Xu Teng was a little dazed from the side. Galaxy has also confirmed that it is possible to become a god with technology. However, Given a detailed information, the price is not what they can afford today. It's half good news, half bad news. Xu Teng never thought that he would realize the idea of technology becoming a god in a short time, because the civilization of Blue Star is still a planetary civilization. At least it has to develop into an interstellar civilization, and the resources that can be called will increase the power of advanced mecha. Exceeded his imagination. It seems that it can only be called in a special environment, or because the type of mecha is too weak. Crash la la la. Gani's thoughts were confused. The surrounding black mist began to dissipate continuously at the same time. The light of the sanctioner on Xu Teng continued to spread like a fire. It is getting brighter and brighter. The lightsaber team was surprised to find that the black mist could actually burn under the light of Akita Mission Su. What is it? Damn, is this really related to technology? Maliki next to him suddenly shouted, "Everyone, look, Gani's body is bulging." Chapter 397 Wormhole Operations in Starships. The originally distracted attention was immediately transferred to Gani. There are too many things that subvert cognition in the base of the Living Dead Pen Fun library, especially in this last moment. Subtle changes will attract attention, not to mention, the body bulges. This abnormal thing. This is because several semi-finished mythical creatures have not been digested completely. At the end, there will be no more moths. Bang bang bang. Several golden shields immediately rose, protecting Xu Teng in the middle. Because the black fog as a whole is dissipating quickly, the endless mental attack has stopped, the erosion of the black mist has also dissipated, and the golden shield is particularly dazzling as a whole. The accident did not happen. On the contrary, in the last time Gani seemed to have regained his clarity and spoke in an icy tone. "You wait, Lord Death, it will eventually come to Blue Star in the future. The spaceship and the wormhole bridge are already under construction. You must die, no doubt." The body was enlarged at the last moment, and it exploded immediately. The strange thing is that there is no dissipated flesh and blood. The whole person is like an exploding balloon, and a large amount of black mist emerges from the bottle. Crash la la la. There was the sound of running water, and the black mist gathered together to form a face with no visible expression. Looks like it failed again. Hearing this voice, not only the lightsaber squad, but even Xu Teng were stunned. After a while, I finally reacted. If anyone can give anything in sacrifice, it must be the High Priest. High Priest, yo, it looks like you've figured it out, from the tone of voice. It seems that the High Priest does not care about the loss of his subordinates in base. The actual situation was this: the High Priest on the other side, whose palm was about to bleed, kept a deliberately indifferent attitude. After all, the loss this time was too great. Not only is the entire base of the living dead gone, but the half-finished mythical creatures are also bare. The black mist left in the sacrificial body is equivalent to a kind of induction. When the other party dies, it can automatically call the High Priest to inform the situation. Just now, the High Priest, who knew the real situation, almost jumped up. However, seeing several people who have been destroying their own achievements, they finally calmed down on the edge of rage. It doesn't matter whether we think about it or not, the key is, do you want to understand it? Look at your tone. Tisk tisk tisk. If you don't know, you think you have achieved your plan, but looking at it now, it's still an empty bamboo basket. Why, you can really bear this kind of loss, just relying on you. What mythical creatures adapted to the civilization of the god of death is just laughing to death. When he heard the voice of the High Priest, Su Jiao turned on his taunting attribute. As a mythical creature, Su Jiao should have his own style, but he just doesn't, especially seeing the indifferent attitude on the face of the High Priest. I wanted to make a good mockery. Although I am a guinea pig, I especially like watching humans break defenses. In fact, as Su Jiao guessed, the High Priest certainly couldn't afford to lose. The technology that I finally got from the god of death was gone in one day. Gan, it's fine if you don't say it, but when you say it, I feel extra pain. Mythical creature, right? You wait, one day. I will definitely make you a sacrifice, and then let you. Su Cheoke did not let him finish his words. Directly turn on the brainless spray mode. Let you have a little mentally retarded stuff. If you have something, come and catch me now. This sentence completely became the last straw that broke the camel's back. The High Priest, who was still able to control his emotions, directly sprayed. I don't care what you are indifferent to. The atmosphere has been highlighted here. Going to give it a hard spritz today. Didn't it just win me a few times? Why do you really think I'm afraid of you? I'll tell you the truth. I have already selected the place for the wormhole bridge, and the spaceship is also within our territory. When it's all done, having said that, the link generated by the black fog was directly broken. It won't exist forever, it just exists for a period of time, and it plays a role in allowing the high priest to sort everything out. When the black mist dissipated, the expressions of the lightsaber team were very exciting, and everyone was shocked. It's not because of the high priest spraying, but there was something else in what he said. Think, for example, the location of the wormhole bridge has been selected, and all experiments are all within the territory controlled by the high priest. With only these two news, Suzhou can be regarded as a great achievement without much effort. The important information was captured at the same time. It was confirmed from the side that the information obtained in the base was correct indeed. Plans for a so-called interstellar civilization were carried out in order for the god of death to come earlier. It also confirmed the importance of technology becoming a god. The atmosphere suddenly became weird. Suzhou, you, beautiful. Yuan Farron struggled for a long time before saying this. Hey, what are you complimenting? It's all from your own family. Who knew that? Suzhou's topic changed. Please be sure to increase your efforts and don't be stingy with your praise words. Not only them, even Suzhou himself did not think of it. The so-called high priest seems to be nothing more than that. In a horizontal comparison, it is many times worse than academician Su. In a vertical comparison, Reaper's technology doesn't seem to be much stronger than Bluster's Dragon Kingdom civilization. Xu Teng didn't focus on this. His focus was different from everyone else's, so they also carried out research on interstellar civilization. Starship, thinking of this, Galaxy's prompt voice came out again. Ding, you already understand the world behind the door. The black fog is slowly dissipating, and the world here has returned to its former tranquility. Looking up, the black fog that originally caused the clear sky is indeed slowly dissipating. Xu Teng's light is like a cleanser that purifies the sky. Reward, Starship small hull technology. Bonus, expansion of wormhole technology. Intimate note, the interstellar spaceship can be extended, and the wormhole technology can be installed not only on the interstellar spaceship, but also on the sanctioner. Okay, let me give you a hint. For example, you can put some weapons in the wormhole through the wormhole algorithm, and then carry out the weapons through calculation during combat. Cool or not? To be honest, I think it's cool too. The thoughtful remarks of these two awards made Xu Teng stunned. It seems that in an instant, he has opened up a little bit of the path of technology becoming a god. Chapter 398. The so-called scientific research thugs initially got the news from the base of the living dead. They are going to form a starship and assemble the location of the wormhole bridge. Xu Teng was still nervous now, having received the long-anticipated reward. I was a little relieved. The tradition of the Dragon Kingdom is like this. He once suffered a big loss in technology and suffered from various comprehensive scientific and technological diseases. If there is no powerful technology in hand, I really have no confidence in my heart. Academician Su, shall we leave? Yuan Farron asked cautiously. After all, everyone has seen the secrets in the base of the living dead. There are interstellar spaceships and wormhole bridges. Although the mythical creature base has been destroyed, there are still so many bases behind. Academician Su is a little worried. After all, raising his head, Xu Teng saw that the black mist in the sky had almost dissipated. Things are finally coming to an end here. Leave here. The secrets in the base have been obtained, and the plan of the high priest is almost destroyed. There are so many things out there waiting for us. Hearing this, everyone's heart tensed. Yes, the wormhole bridge, the interstellar spaceship, no matter which point is the pressure of Tarzan, have taken over the defense system of the base. Whether to activate the self-destruction program, the base of the living dead is the base where the high priest has invested a lot of resources here, not just for the development of mythical creatures, but also for other secret gatherings. However, now they have been robbed by Xinghu. Because of this, the base is equipped with an automatic destruction program. The purpose is to transfer the data in time in the event of an accident. Who knows? The sacrifices under the high priest's command are ruthlessly obliterated. When Xu Teng dealt with the following stalls, everything went smoothly. Activate the self-destruction program. And don't let the slightest secret escape from here. Clear. A roar and electronically synthesized sound began to sound in the huge experimental base. The self-destruction program of the base has started, and the countdown is 10 minutes. All staff, please prepare for evacuation. Turning his head, Xu Teng looked at the lightsaber squad standing beside him. Let's go. Look at this. The sacrifice is completely dead. Don't worry about him coming back to life. Lightsaber squad, we are not worried about the question of whether to sacrifice or not. When others face us, as soon as they stretch out their hands, a few barriers formed by black mist will rise up to block us. Pen Fun Library. But in the face of Academician Su, you can't take a punch. We are worried about the future situation. Who knows? Everyone has not taken the initiative to mention this matter while walking out. Xu Teng took the initiative to speak. I know what you're thinking. Isn't it just wormhole bridges and starships? Don't worry, we'll have them too. What a big thing. The past technological backwardness has made us suffer so much? How can this kind of thing happen again? After a pause, Xu Teng continued to explain, from the beginning, I didn't put their high priest in the eye. After so many contacts, when they faced us, they were not always at a disadvantage. It sounds like a high priest, and if it sounds bad, it's a lackey of the god of death. My goal has always been the god of death behind that, the interstellar civilization standing at the height of the universe. In the beginning, I was able to crucify him in front of a global audience. After a certain future, I can also become a god with technology, and I can't lift him up. What about God? When my technology becomes a god, chopping the earth will be his god. At this moment, the atmosphere gradually changed from depressing to exciting in retrospect. This is exactly what happened along the way after the Declaration of Independence. The lightsaber squad was never detected by the opposite instrument when the forward military bases of the beautiful country were removed again and again. The lightsaber squad even hid in the room, eating hot food and mocking the other side. As for the so-called head-on conflict, the sanctioners have already killed the quartet, the siege, the commander, and the mutated Burning Man, after they were executed there. Even the other side didn't even come to collect the corpse, not to mention what happened at the base of the living dead. This time everyone saw the difficulty of the sacrifice, and the endless black mist around him could be mobilized by him, but the final result, one punch made him schizophrenic. Academicians who has never just said, on the contrary, what he has done is always more than what he has said. In this way, how could anyone not believe it? This way, the lightsaber team looked at the back of Academician Su, and their mood was a bit complicated. Originally thought that it was just scientific research and technology that could lead the new era. Everyone had a potential understanding in their hearts. If you put on the sanctioner, you will definitely be able to perform as well as Academician Su result. But he slapped everyone in the face. They didn't know until they put on the sanctioner. The Academician in front of him is not that simple. Whether it is facing semi-finished mythical creatures or so-called sacrifices, they all show super crushing ability when you find a person's bright spot, only to find that others start to crush you in all aspects. Scientific thugs. For some reason, I suddenly thought of this intense crash. La la la. The black frog near the wormhole bridge suffered a chain reaction like flowing water. Xu Teng turned to look at the crowd and ordered, if you go out at that time, let Xinghu find a place to call the carrier platform in low Earth orbit. Don't go back for now. The other bases require you to conduct follow-up investigations. Clear. Boom. The raised space in front of the sanctioner opened, and Su Zhao drilled out from it. Take Su Zhao with you. Now, the one with the high priest who can compete with him is the devil wolf. It's just that the devil wolf, as a rare species, doesn't appear often. It will be better for you to keep Su Zhao. Su Zhao looked at his comrade in arms who hadn't seen each other for a long time, and grinned. Hello, everyone. It's been a long time since I saw you. Thank you for your attention. The scalps of several people were numb, and all the images that appeared in their heads were the pictures that Su Zhao had scolded at the beginning. Countdown, 0. The self-destruction program starts. Seeing the fire in the base through Xinghu, Xu Teng felt relieved. Next, the mission is to rush to the interstellar age. There is also a key message. Technology has become a god for Blue Star. This news was like a thunderous shock. Of course, some news can also be released outside. For example, the other bases of the High Priest. These few news alone can make the beautiful country sleepless. After all, Pretty Nation has always been a high-profile propaganda confrontation, although even the forward military bases have not been established. If you are listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means it was downloaded and re-uploaded without effort. We warmly invite you to visit our channel, Fanfic World. There you will find the original version of this story and many other novels of various genres. We look forward to seeing you dive into a world of incredible novels. Chapter 399 Decryption. When Xinghu sent the recorded video and various top-secret information to the big guys above, everyone was stunned. Is this true? If other people saw these materials, they would be somewhat disbelieving. Wormhole bridges, starships, those technologies that were originally in fantasy, when displayed in the video, immediately shattered everyone's cognition. The first thought is, we are just a planetary civilization. Can this really be achieved? The second thought was, the High Priest actually has this kind of technology, and he is far ahead of us. Even after all this time, the Declaration of Independence is still the hottest topic because this symbolizes that the confrontation between the two civilizations has reached the point of incompatibility. Although It was announced by the god of death before, but no one would have imagined a day when the thugs under his command could do so to such an extent. Academician Xu sent it. Some bosses noticed the account from which the email was sent, and there was a feeling of anticipation in their hearts. The youngest academician in the history of the Long Kingdom is different from other researchers. To describe it more precisely, from time to time, it will bring them life-shattering surprises. Often what you think is sci-fi in the future turns into a product and appears in front of you in an instant. Blaster gun, shield, space-based weapons, even mechas. Who can believe that these weapons, which have never been at a disadvantage in the confrontation between the Dragon Kingdom and the God of Death, are actually from Academician Xu alone? Proposals for the formation of interstellar spaceships and wormhole bridges, as well as scientific plans for wormholes to be loaded into the Sanctioner mecha. Many bigwigs who saw this proposal were stunned for a while. We just envied the High Priest's technology support for Starship and Wormhole Bridge through the technological support of the God of Death in the next second. The email you gave proposes this kind of scientific plan? Am I dazzled? Pen Fun Library. Li Rongsheng took off his reading glasses and asked his colleague sitting next to him when testing the blaster gun before. Li Rongsheng wanted to take Xu Teng by his side and take special care of him because he knew that such pure scientific researchers would be difficult for 100 years. A good seed to see the rise of the Dragon Kingdom is indispensable for this kind of person. Li Rongsheng is indeed not mistaken. Such a person is indeed indispensable to the rise, but is this rise too fast? Space-based weapons, mecha. He found that Xu Teng's scientific research strength far surpassed everyone present, even more unexpected. In a short period of time, on the road of scientific research, the two have been on an equal footing. Academician Tuzi next to him raised his eyebrows disdainfully when he heard Li Rongsheng's words. What? Xiao Su, the research project is going to scare you. Look at you, you must admit that others are better than you. Isn't it the wormhole bridge, the interstellar spaceship, and the wormhole loaded in the Sanctioner mecha above? Isn't this the meaning of petty troubles? Xiao Su's scientific research attitude will make jokes in this regard. Let me tell you, the emergence of the anti-gravity engine is the first step in opening up interstellar civilization. Maybe we will build a solar system defense line in the future. At that time, there will be a complete space fleet battle with the fleet of Death God civilization. If it was someone else at this kind of academicians' collective meeting, it was said that they would establish a solar system defense line and have a space fleet battle with the fleet of the Death God civilization. Even if Li Rongsheng didn't spray, others would stand up and scold. Don't joke, Ken. The protagonist is the words of Xu Teng. It seems that nothing is impossible, even a little bit of excitement. Do we really have a space fleet? Of course, now there are mechas, and even mass production. I heard that the artificial intelligence program has also been fully developed. The lightsaber team has also reported in actual combat, 10 easy to use, in addition to the anti-gravity engine. Now that Academician Xu has submitted such a scientific plan, does it take a long time to wait for those things? They all looked at each other, and saw a look in their eyes. It doesn't take long to wait today. These well-known academicians in the outside world built an amazing fantasy blueprint at the conference. For example, aerospace battleships, the computing structure of wormholes, and the upgrading of human genes to form super warriors to deal with the blow of death civilization in the future. And most importantly, the defense line of the solar system proposed by Academician Tuzi. All the people present at the time had only one thought: don't look at Academician Tuzi's unpleasant words. He is indeed capable. That sentence: the war between the stars can never be fought on the blue star. For a planet, it is completely unsustainable. At that level of war, the resources of the entire blue star will be exhausted in a very short period of time. Even if we win the war, the final tragic victory is not what we want to face. The defense line of the solar system is what we need to build the most. The war between the stars must be fought outside. As for what blue star should do, the intelligence submitted by Xu Teng has already made a point. The independent country under the command of the High Priest must be rectified at that time. At the same time, it will not be soft on the beautiful country because Xinghu's dark sun sent out the information. They took refuge in another interstellar civilization. In order to maintain their status, the goal of unifying the blue star is sooner or later. Since there is no way to negotiate, we can only experience the true skills of each other on the battlefield. Then, on the same day, the Ministry of Foreign Affairs held an urgent press conference. Every piece of news is enough to detonate the internet, and the key is to release so many news together. The comments on the internet just exploded. My God, is the so-called Declaration of Independence a lie? If you fail to evolve successfully, you will become someone else's sacrifice and step on your body to advance. Of course, you will not worry about being revenged by death. No, We can't even build a frontier military base. The High Priest is going to build a wormhole bridge and an interstellar spaceship. Fuck, this is a ball traitor. Hey, am I the only one who has a different focus? Long Guo seems to say that they are about to enter the interstellar era, and are conducting research on interstellar spaceships and wormhole bridges. Damn it, our technology is the most backward. Over the years, what are those in the upper ranks doing? A blonde white man frantically tapped the keyboard. The outside world was completely chaotic, and many people said that this was the beginning of the end. Only the Dragon Kingdom was extremely peaceful because, on this day, one of the youngest academician, Xu Teng, began to decipher in front of everyone. Chapter 400: A defense line of the solar system. Previously, the main reason Xu Teng's files were sealed was that the situation was too complicated. A certain amount of protection needs to be given to allow Xu Teng to conduct research with peace of mind behind the scenes. With a continuous development of technology, the latest news is that the sanctioners can be mass-produced. A series of collisions with a high priest all ended in victory. There is no need to hide many things. After all, the situation is fluctuating, and a hero is needed to stabilize the minds of everyone. Xu Teng is very suitable for standing in front of the screen, especially the plans going forward. How exciting it sounds! Wormhole bridges, starships. Now, some things should be decrypted to let everyone know what such a scientific research genius behind the country is sharing for everyone. Then, that night, all the channels of the Long Kingdom began to announce a message. The patron saint behind academician Xu, starting from the initial college career, one by one detailed. A man has built a lightsaber in a laboratory, subverting the traditional firearm. The blaster, a shield against a lot of thermal weapon fire, little friction between the international seas. What's really going on behind the scenes? Sending squads to the front lines to explore as well as create a space-based weapon for the crucified god of death, and a sanctioner mech that has already started mass production. Along with a series of videos were released. There has been an uproar on the domestic network. My god, is this something I can see? 1 second, I was thinking about how we should live under the punishment of death. The next second, death? What spicy chicken stuff, eat I stab, woohoo, while watching, crying. It's so handsome, the key is still so young. Is there any object of little big brother? Stop, upstairs. To be honest, there are several people in China who are worthy of academician Xu. Originally thought it was just scientific research and technology invincible, but who knew that the video released by the Ministry of Foreign Affairs also had a video of Xu Teng putting on a mecha and fighting siege commander. The video released by the Ministry of Foreign Affairs on the global media that day was made by such a scientific research tycoon with a sanctioner in the past. This horse riding is too subversive to people's imagination. It's just that you noticed, the last Easter egg is not to say 1 point, interstellar civilization. Our spacecraft and wormhole technology are coming soon. Brother, I think you can be bold. Don't say it's coming soon. According to our research methods, it must be there soon. Wait. What else is there to defend the solar system? Are these really things we can see? Many netizens have the same doubts. The technology released this time is too shocking, and many things can be placed in top secret files. Some things, after you publish it, it will be valued by foreign countries, and if it is too advanced, it will even usher in encirclement and suppression. But today's situation is too specific. I don't know where the projects in the other base of the High Priest have been researched. If the other party announces it first, it may attract some desperate people to go. The people around are all ill-intentioned and staring at him rather than being missed. It is better to let everyone see that we are confident enough to overcome all difficulties. Then, the official account replied below. It's better to take the initiative instead of being missed by others. We have not lost the conflicts that happened before. We will not lose those conflicts in the future. Please believe in the country, and please believe in academician Xu. The two short sentences instantly mobilized the atmosphere. Damn. Just these 2 words, I actually ignited. Me too. I was drinking water and got up instantly, thinking that I can also join the army. Once the mecha wears, what God's chosen people and sacrifices, I will let you know what pain is. Join the army +1. Surprisingly, the original purpose was to cheer up citizens but accidentally detonated the hotspot of joining the army. Mechanically, Xu Teng, who was the client, was in deep contemplation. The submitted future construction plan has been approved. The first goal is to build first starships and wormhole bridges. Plan your defenses so that combat troops can respond quickly. The production line in the base has been completed, and since a few days ago, the construction of the sanctioner has entered the stage of mass production on that day. The people in the base were as happy as the New Year's Day general. The problem of the sanctioner's production has been solved, and now the problem of air dominance will be solved first. In modern warfare, air supremacy is a very important thing. If you can firmly control it, then you can really point where you want, and monitor it on your head every day. All kinds of military operations are not easy to carry out. You just heard the sound of the plane on the opposite side. Maybe people will be gone, although now it has been pressing the people on the High Priest side to fight, but they can't relax. They have the support of interstellar civilization behind them. Who knows what the scientific research results in those bases look like if you walk behind and let the other party's starship come out first and strike in space. The number of casualties will become extraordinarily large. This is not acceptable to Xu Teng and fellow researchers. Do you want to open the blueprint of the small hull of the starship? Yes. Verification of the retina is in progress. The human body is scanned, and the scan is successful. The drawing of the small hull of the starship is opening, because the technology involved above is too advanced. Xu Teng set up a series of authentication firewalls to prevent drawings from being stolen. As the drawings continue to unfold on the screen, the core data of the small hull of the starship appeared one by one. Small hull of the starship, Red Dragon 1, the target hull belongs to Space Fighter, number of passengers, 1. The core role of the fighter, conduct space warfare and seize air supremacy. It can cope with the strong currents in space, and there is a certain strength to resist the swirling rocks. When a series of core data were digested by Xu Teng, his inner emotions were somewhat complicated. Fighter originally thought that the reward drawings obtained were reconnaissance planes and the like, and minor changes were required, but now, everything has been omitted. Directly pull the combat specifications to the highest level of intensity. If space-level fighter jets are small hulls that belong to starships, is there really a fleet behind them? There are even huge flagships at the interstellar level, which are hundreds of millions of tons when they are launched. If it is calculated in this way, the defense line of the solar system is not impossible. End of this chapter. Thank you so much for reading until the end. Don't forget to give it a like. Looking for more exclusive content and immediate access? Subscribe to our Patreon. Remember, every like, subscription or donation encourages us to continue. Thank you all. See you in the next video.